Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side Podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with Riv and Ronnie Castaneda, and this is now episode 104. In this episode, we are going to talk about football and basketball. And to start off the episode, we are going to be giving out our AFC predictions. Then we will give our takes on the most impressive rookies in Summer League, the Jalen Green versus Cade Cunningham duel, Boston signing Dennis Schroder, and talk about the recent Jason Kidd stories that have surfaced. To end off the show, we will talk about how Dame fits in Philly, Pascal Siakam trade rumors, and if Isaiah Thomas deserves another NBA shot. This is now episode 104. That intro took about 10 plus tries. I was not on my game this time. Recently, these intros have been taking at least like 2 plus tries from
It's noticed because in your arguments you lose too. So it's like you ain't been on your game lately. You know what I'm saying?
Before this podcast was recorded, Riv and I have been arguing for about 30 minutes on that Lonzo debate. And it made me wonder something. First of all, we appreciate all of you guys that comment on those videos. Just because we don't answer doesn't mean we don't read them. We read all of them. People think I lost a debate. It honestly boggles my mind. And one person commented it perfectly. He said, Joel got way too emotional in that debate, but he had a point. And I admire whoever wrote that because, listen, the stats I know now, if we run that debate back, there is no way people think you remotely won.
It's crazy how
you want to know? I'll compare it to this. Remember in the regular season, in the football season, when the Saints beat the Bucks in the regular season, but in the playoffs, the Bucks saw them again. Tom Brady won, and he ended up winning the Super Bowl. That's me. That's me right there. I had that one slip up, but now it's easy breezy for me now.
I think you're more like the Knicks, and I'm like Atlanta. Like, you walked in, you thought you were going to come out and do that, and I just completely dominated you. And now you think if we play again that you're going to come out with this new, these new guys, this new evidence that you're going to win. We don't run it back here, man.
The evidence that I proposed to you and then I presented to you showcases how right I am in that argument that I made. That Lonzo will be a spot-up shooter in Chicago.
You think so?
I do believe so. Okay. People can tune back in months later. It's not the NBA season. The NBA season is not far.
We said we're going to check about 30 games in.
The NBA season is not far. We'll look at what happens in the regular season. It's not far off. But first of all, I want to say this. We were a top 10 ranked sports podcast in the Bahamas this past week. And if you guys are listening from the Bahamas, thank you guys so much. And if you guys are from the Bahamas, comment down below so we can know. We know if you really are from the Bahamas. It was pretty cool when I saw that. And also, review and rate our Apple podcast review and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts if you want to, because we are close to 40 ratings. We are at 39 right now. And if you want to write a review, you can. Also, if you guys want to be in a server with Riv, Drew, and I and get access to us in a group chat, basically, you can subscribe to our Patreon and be a part of our Discord server. We answer back all the time there, so we could be in constant communication. You guys can debate with us there too. Riv and I, we were debating about Lonzo there after the show there. And now on to the show. We're going to start off with 5 NFL topics. We're going to go over each AFC East team, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the New York Jets. And then our last football topic is about the Cincinnati Bengals and Jessie Bates and their contract disputes. So on to the first team, the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills last year were 12-4. They were one of the best teams in the entire NFL. They went to the AFC Championship and lost. And in this offseason, they added Emmanuel Sanders. Mitchell Trubisky, I think, is a good backup. Jacob Hollister, not a bad tight end. And they also drafted Gregory Rousseau and Carlos Basham. They did lose John Brown, Andre Roberts, a good kick returner, but they also brought back virtually their entire offensive line. In your opinion, where do you see the Buffalo Bills ranking in the AFC East this year? What do you think the record is? I'll start with you, Riv.
Just ask me what their record is going to be is a pretty tough task, but I think definitely they should be the heavy favorites to be the number 1 team in their division. I think they will be. I think with the continuing improvement from last year, I think like you said in the draft, getting Gregory Rousseau, a few of them, like that team last year was really fun to watch. I think we can all agree it was a really exciting team. I think one of their weaknesses was rushing the quarterback, and I think they've not successfully, fix that problem because obviously we won't know until the game time, but they addressed that problem in the draft. I think, losing John Brown, but bringing in Emmanuel Sanders, who when healthy still has a lot to give. Obviously improvement from Josh Allen and their young guys. This is still a pretty young team. I think if we can get all that going, I think they'll still be right back in it. They lost to the Chiefs. Granted, we thought they were the best team in the AFC, but I think any other team they can beat, I think they'll be right back in the playoffs. They'll be right back in that AFC championship game, and I think I got them the number 1 team in their division.
They actually went 13-3, not 12-4.
I didn't say 12-4.
I said 12-4.
Oh,
that's why.
13-3.
Yeah, they went 13-3. And I think one of the games they lost to the Cardinals on the Hail Mary.
Oh, that was the D-Hop catch?
So they could have possibly went 14-2.
And they didn't play their starters the last week, right?
Against the Jets, no.
Yeah.
I think it was against the Jets.
No,
it wasn't against
the
Jets.
They could have went 15-1, realistically.
I'm not sure if they did play. I don't think they played their starters. I'm not sure, but.
Well, I got them number 1. They got the best quarterback in the division by far. They basically bring back damn near their whole team from last year. They brought in some new acquisitions. They still got Stephon Diggs coming off a breakout year. That's another guy. So I got them number 1. It's clear as day who's going to be the number 1 team.
Not for real. For me, Buffalo, record-wise, I think they're going to be about the same as last season. I think it's going to be, if not, they're going to see a slight decline, but it's not going to stop them from taking home the AFC East crown. I think this year defensive coordinators are going to figure out Josh Allen because while he did have the breakout season, there were still some moments where you could see some faults in his game. He still doesn't know how to, truly run with the ball in his hand if he has to scare away from oncoming defenders. And, I mean, you guys were or not even, what am I saying? Josh Allen even, he was throwing dots against blitz. His passing game was, amazing. It'd take a real, jump. So I have no doubt they're going to win the division. There's no other team that's even remotely close to where the Bills are. But I think, it's going to be another test for Josh Allen because I think teams already have gotten, an eye on him. And they're going to have to – he's just going to have to work around teams who are, fully prepared for him now.
The Bills went from the 31st passing efficiency in 2019 to –
Oh, I'm sorry. Before you get to 13-4. We just had to double down, look at their schedule.
You say 13-4.
13-4.
In 2019, the Bills were one of the worst passing teams in the NFL. They were more run heavy. In 2020, they completely switched up their game plan. Brian Dable deserves a lot of credit because he said, we're going to be pass heavy this upcoming season. And they were one of the best passing attacks in the NFL. Last year, they only punted 42 times in that entire season. That's about 3 times. That's 3 times per game, I think. A little bit less because 16 times 2 is 32. 16 times 3 is 48. So that's less. That's about 2.5 times per game they punted the ball. That's how efficient their offense was. One of the weaknesses on the Bills roster last year that I noticed is that their run game isn't good and their pass rush wasn't very good. They addressed their pass rush somewhat with the addition of Gregory Rousseau, who I'm really high on. He has the body of a Greek god. He can be an impact day one player, no doubt about it.
Greek god?
Yes, he can be Hercules. Black Hercules. So the Bills improved in that aspect. But in terms of running the ball, they didn't improve. Zach Moss is still there. Devin Singletary's still there.
Their main guy is Josh.
Yeah, they brought back Matt Breida, they brought in Matt Breida, who I think is a pretty speedy back. But their offensive line didn't change. They still have Deion Dawkins, John Feliciano, Mitch Morse, Cody Ford, and Darrell Williams. It's going to be relatively the same. I want to see if the Bills are going to lean more towards of a balanced attack. I wouldn't do it because I think their passing attack is that great. And John Brown was a loss, but last year he was injured, and Emmanuel Sanders, when healthy, is a better receiver than John Brown. I think Jacob Hollister was a great addition, but that running game does concern me. With that being said, looking at their schedule, they have a lot of gimme wins. Washington is going to be tough, but
that's not a gimme win.
Yeah, but
we expect the Bills to win.
These are the games I think the Bills are favored in. Okay. Washington, Houston, the Jaguars, the Jets twice, Carolina, and Atlanta. Those are 7 wins right there that they can win. They're going to be favored in, no doubt about it.
Favored against the Saints?
It depends if Michael Thomas is not playing or if he is playing.
Okay, so if he's
But I
playing.
think, and these are the tough games, toss-up games for me. Pittsburgh, Miami twice, New England twice, KC, Tennessee,
Bucks.
New Orleans, and the Bucks. It's a tough schedule, but do I think they can? Do I think they can win 6 of these games?
It's a 50-50 schedule.
It depends. They have to have everything clicking and going. But because the Bills, in terms of the time they have to rest next season, is one of the worst in the league. A lot of the opponents they're going to face next year are going to come off of a lot of days of rest.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of games that are primetime games. They're not going to have much preparation time for them. I'm projecting them to win 12 games next year.
Oh, right under me.
And I think they're projected to win 11 games. I think that's their forecast. I have them over. I have them at 12 next season because I think Josh Allen will pick up where he left off. I think Josh Allen is emerging as one of the best quarterbacks in his league right now. I was always high on him coming out of college. He had a rocket arm.
Yeah.
And their defense is going to be one of the best in the league. I'm not sure about the secondary corner. I love Tre'Davious White, but Levi Wallace scares me. He's not a great second corner. Teron Johnson either. But their secondary with Micah Hyde, with Tre'Davious White, with Jordan Poyer is phenomenal. And when Matt Milano was playing on the Bills, they were one of the best defenses in the NFL. And we know with Sean McDermott, he's a great defensive-minded coach. I would take the over with the Bills. I think 12 wins for me, 12-5 sounds reasonable. I can see 13 wins, though, because they're going to be that dynamic on offense and a great defensive team.
Yeah, I think the division games are forever, going to be a struggle. Miami is going to be a hard. But I think, like you said, their first 4 games, they got, Pittsburgh, at Miami, then Washington, then the Texans. So that's a tough 3-game stretch. And then you got an easy one with Houston. But like you said, I don't think, their weakness was the running game, but I think their passing attack was just so dangerous. And bringing in Emmanuel Sanders, who just kind of is going to pick up or even do better than what John Brown did if he's healthy. And I think Cole Beasley is still going to be playing for them, so that's another guy. Gabriel Davis, he was good when he played. So I think being pass heavy is just what they are. Having a running back is good, having that guy where you could just dish it out to, but I don't think they need that at the moment because Josh Allen is continuing to emerge and he has these weapons around him.
Cole Beasley's a wild card.
Because of the COVID thing, right?
Yeah, you're not sure if he's going to show up or not.
He's hilarious.
But, regardless, they still got Stephon who's coming off a career.
But if he does play, woo.
Gabriel Davis, too. Gabriel Davis, I think, is a dog. Going into his second year. Last year as a rookie, he showed flashes. And Emmanuel Sanders can play anywhere on the field, in the slot, outside. They'll be fine regardless, but Cole Beasley is that wild card because of the vaccine stuff and the vaccine stuff. And we're not sure because if the NFL does enforce these COVID rules, Cole Beasley has said, I'm not following.
Yeah, he said, yeah.
He said he's done. He doesn't need football. He can go to his rapping career.
Yo.
Cole Beasley not too bad of a rapper.
So wait, because we have I have 13 wins, you have 12 wins. So let me just knock it off. Steelers, you have them winning.
That's a win.
Dolphins at Miami.
I say they split.
So they're at 2-1 already. Okay.
Yeah.
Washington.
That's a win.
3-1. Texans win.
Win.
Chiefs, I'm assuming we both have lost.
That's a loss.
Okay, all right. Titans at Tennessee.
Man, that's a loss.
That's a loss?
That's
okay.
a loss.
I had it as a win. And then you said the Dolphins split. Jacksonville win. Bum-ass Jets win. Colts.
That's a win.
At New Orleans.
Man, that's tough. With fans,
yeah,
that's a loss.
That's a loss? Okay. New England. You got them split?
Split.
Okay. And then at Tampa Bay. That's a loss.
Yeah, that's a loss. I have 9 wins for them right now on my hands.
Carolina.
That's a win.
You had the New England split. Oh, and then Falcons, then Jets. So 12.
Actually, 11 for me.
Oh,
because I already counted the Jets. The Jets, I think they're going to beat us twice.
Because you have them losing to the Titans and the Saints. I have them beating both.
Okay, so that's why I have 11. So around near 11 to 13.
They're going to get 11.
Wins
yeah, okay.
is around there, I think. That's where they're going to end up next season. The schedule's tough. It's not easy.
That's a good schedule. I like it.
It's not tough. And I think they have a lot of, it is tough. And I think they have a lot of primetime games, too.
They have a lot of easy games, but they have a lot of tough games, too.
7 games they're heavily favored in, I would think. And yeah. I counted Washington in that, and I think that's generous because Washington
I don't think they're heavily favored against Washington, but they're favored it.
The next team in the division, the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins last year were a surprise team. They went 10-6. We all didn't expect that they had one of the top defenses in the entire NFL in terms of points allowed. And I was reading something today about Chan Gailey. Chan Gailey came out and basically gave out his first comments since leaving the Dolphins. And he said he was in total shock when Tua was named the starter, which
And
means that Chan Gailey didn't know he was going to be the starter.
He's the offensive coordinator?
Yeah. And Chan Gailey said that he thought Fitz was the guy. The offense
So
was
the
rolling.
offensive coordinator didn't know who was going to start.
Yeah, he said that Tua didn't have a preseason. He didn't have an offense built around Tua. Like, Tua didn't have an offense that was cultivated
it was a
towards
Ryan
his skill
Fitzpatrick
sets.
offense.
Exactly. And Chan Gailey was totally caught by surprise, which probably leads you to believe that that's why Tua didn't look so great in his rookie season. And because of that, I think this year we might be primed for a breakout season from Tua. I think this might be a breakout year. I love the additions. They got Bobby McCain, Eric Flowers, Kyle Van Noy. No, those are their losses.
Yeah,
those are losses, my fault. They got Will Fuller, Bernard McKinney, Jacoby Brissett,
Jalen
Malcolm
Waddle.
Brown, Matt Skura, Justin Coleman, Adam Butler, Jason McCourty. McCourty is there too. Jalen Phillips from the draft, Jalen Waddle, Ted Karras. He left to New England. I think they made a lot of great additions, especially in their wide receiver core. Tua now has a lot of legit weapons in Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Jalen Waddle, and I'm forgetting his name off out of the backfield.
Devontae Park. Oh, pardon me.
Out of the backfield. He was a surprise running back last season. I'm forgetting his name.
Malcolm Brown.
Not Malcolm Brown. It was the third down receiving back.
Gaskin.
Myles Gaskin, yes. He was really good for them last year. Because of that, I think that Tua will be better. Statistically, he will be better. But their schedule is tough. They got the Patriots. They got Buffalo. They got Indianapolis, the Bucks, the Ravens, the Saints, the Titans.
Damn.
That's a tough schedule. Do I think Tua will be better? Yes. Do I think he's going to all of a sudden go into elite status? No. Because of that, I have them going 9-8 next season. I think their schedule is insanely tough, and even their easier games against the Falcons, Carolina, I don't think those are like pushover teams. I think Carolina's going to give a fight. I think Atlanta's going to give a fight. And even Las Vegas, the Raiders. With Derek Carr, he always has them in a position to win the game. Because of that, I'm not sure about the Dolphins. I'm not sure if they replicate that same success. And their defense was insanely lucky. I mean, last year, they were one of the best defenses in terms of points allowed, but they gave up the most yards. They were insanely lucky on turnovers and forcing turnovers. They had a lot of breaks. I'm not sure if that happens next season.
Well, I think, bringing back, regardless of if it's luck or not, bringing back a top 10 defense in the league is impressive. Mostly bringing all their guys back from that defense. And like you said, Tua didn't have a whole preseason. He kind of was just thrown into the fire of a Ryan Fitzpatrick offense. It was actually, get this team to the playoffs. Granted, we didn't see them being where they were at, 10-6. It was a kind of a mystery. Brian Flores did an incredible job. Now, like you said, Mike G, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm going to just call him Mike G, the tight end. Jalen Waddle, Devontae Parker, they have weapons for Tua. So there's really no – I don't want to say this could be a make or break season for Tua, but it just feels like so much pressure is on him to deliver in year 2 with all the weapons that he has. Like, he has a pretty good offense, and now he's had a full, preseason, a full offseason. He's going to have a full training camp to have this offense built around his success, built around what he's good at, his strengths. And it's now you have a top 10 defense on the other side now. Can you carry us to the playoffs? And like you said, this schedule is extremely tough. On paper, I have them as the second best team in the division, but I think they finished third. I think they finished behind New England. I don't think Tua is going to be ready. I think he's going to have a good statistical season, but he's going to make a lot of errors in the fourth quarter, a lot of errors that cost him some games. And I think this team is just too young to really overcome this deadly, dangerous schedule. I mean, Bills, like you said, Bills, Colts, and this is the Colts when they're probably going to be healthy. Wentz and Quentin Nelson are going to be back for this game. Then you got the Falcons. That's not a pushover, like you said. Ravens. You got the Panthers. You got New York. You got New Orleans. At New Orleans, you got Tennessee. So it's going to be a tough schedule. And I don't think Tua is going to be ready to come in and just win them games that fast.
Yeah, he's not. But you have to think bringing back a top 10 defense like adds a bit of security for him in the sense that I don't got to be gunslinging Fitzpatrick now. I could, afford to like chill out a little bit, which has been his game. But I feel like my problem with him last season was that like whenever you see a young quarterback, you always find out like who their safety blanket is. I don't think Tua was able to find a safety blanket last season, but I think them bringing in Jalen Waddle was kind of like that safety blanket in a way. Now, granted, Jalen Waddle's a rookie, so I don't know how safe and secure that's going to be. But even if not, he has Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, and all those guys. So I don't think it's a make or break. I think it's too early to tell. Like, if he struggles this season, like I don't think anyone's going to hate him. He's still trying to figure out the game. He's coming off a season where he would either start or come in, depending on how the game went. Ryan Fitzpatrick would come in and at least try to finish it off. So, like, you can argue whether or not his rookie season was for real. I mean, this is his real first season, so I wouldn't, I don't think there's too much pressure. I just let him get out there, get some chemistry with his receivers, and, let him feel an NFL game for, like, good, like the whole fourth.
If you think he has an average statistical season, you don't think he's going to get crucified? I think he is.
I think he's going to get
he is going to be,
dominated.
he's going to get crucified, but, like, I don't think it should be anything to it.
I think this team is primed for a playoff run. And if he doesn't make the playoffs, they're going to get him. Like, they're going to be on him. This team is geared up to, like, we just went 10-6. We just added some guys for you. Now the offense, we've given you the keys full time. It's like, now it's really on you. Can you do it? Can you lead us to the playoffs? Our defense is going to do their job. Can the offense help out our defense?
I don't think enough people talk about how Brian Flores set up Tua to fail, basically. I mean,
Talk about it.
What was the goal behind that? Like, just slotting in Tua to start and not letting Chan Gailey know? Because it definitely wasn't to draft another quarterback. They were sitting at 3, and they moved back. Were they probably eyeing Zach Wilson or Trevor? I don't think so. Maybe Trevor, because he was this generational prospect, quote unquote. Maybe they didn't like Fields or Lance or Mac Jones there, but realistically, Brian Flores, I think, handled the quarterback situation as bad as you can handle it last season. When Tua didn't play well, he benched him, and that shattered somebody's confidence. Mark Sanchez came out and said the same thing. He was like, you can't do that to a rookie quarterback. I'm not sure if there's anything behind that, but the reason why I think the Dolphins are going to drop off, and not by much, I have them going 9-8, is because their defense got extremely lucky last year. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think their offense will be better next year, but that offensive line still isn't very good. When you look at their offensive line, Austin Jackson, Liam Eichenberg, Michael Dater, Robert Hunt, Jesse Davis, or Matt Skura may start, and he was bad with the Ravens. Their offensive line is bad. Tua, there's different skill sets in this receiving group. Devontae Parker is more of a jump ball guy. Jalen Waddle is a route runner. He's going to call separation. And Will Fuller is a deep threat. I don't think Fuller and Devontae Parker fit Tua's skill set. I do think Waddle and Gesicki do. So I think those will be like his 2 go-to guys. Because of that offensive line and pressure may come quicker, those may be the 2 guys that he looks to the most. But we'll have to see. But I think there are a lot of question marks with the Dolphins. I'm not ready to put them second in the AFC East or first. I think they finished third too.
I got them at 7-10.
7-10?
Yeah, that's after just doing my calculations. I got them at 7-10.
If they go 7-10, they're gonna have a field day with Tua.
I don't even think that's like because the AFC just got so much better.
It doesn't matter though.
Yeah, it's just like they got a lot of tough games, man. A lot of games where they could look at it and be like, well, we played tough, but just certain teams is just better than this. Like they could. I don't think they'll split it with Buffalo. I think Buffalo can easily win both of those games. New England, I think, can win both of those games. They got New England, and it'll be tough too because if they end the season right, if they're like gunning for that 6-7 seed spot and they're in a race, those last 3 games against the Saints, Titans, and the Patriots are going to be a tough dogfight in the end of the season for them. So if they're fighting, it's going to be hard.
And I'm expecting Jameis to make a big leap this year, too.
Jameis
Winston.
Oh.
He's going to be great.
I was so confused.
He's going to be great.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I know you was hating on Jameis.
30 for 30?
You was hating on Jameis. I remember.
You keep saying hating. What's hating?
You was hating on Jameis.
Hating is like never wanting to see a guy succeed. I don't not want to see him succeed. He just has it, you know.
I know you hating on Jameis. When he shows out, you're going to see. You're going to see you was hating on Jameis. The New England Patriots, this is one of my favorite teams in the AFC East right now. And the AFC in general, because I think even though I am a Jets fan and these are supposed to be our rivals, they got a lot of players I like on this team. Cam Newton, I really love. I love Mac Jones. I was very high on him coming out of the draft. They added a lot. Matt Judon, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Trent Brown, Jalen Mills, Kyle Van Noy, Kendrick Bourne, Henry Anderson, Ted Karras, Mac Jones, Christian Barmore. That's a lot of talent. That's a lot of talent. And even though they don't have an elite wide receiver, they also brought in Nelson Aguilar, which I think was huge. Even though they don't have an elite wide receiver, they don't need one. Bill Belichick, in his years as a coach, outside of Randy Moss, has never had an elite wide receiver. He's always had a great tight end.
2 tight end system.
In the 90s, Benjamin Watson, he drafted Benjamin Watson in the mid-2000s. That was the Patriots' go-to guy. He was very good for them. Then after Watson left, signed with another team, he drafted Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski.
Crazy.
He tried to revive the tight end position and their tight end group by drafting Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene, but they were god-awful, so he paid for some. He paid for Jonnu Smith. He paid for he paid for Hunter Henry. And those two guys are one of the best tight ends in the league, and I think when healthy, they make up the best tight end duo in the entire NFL. The biggest question mark is Cam Newton. What Cam Newton are we going to get? Are we going to get Cam Newton in Carolina, his MVP season? That year, he had an elite tight end in Greg Olsen. Maybe he replicates that with Jonnu and Hunter Henry. But as of late, Cam Newton hasn't been a very good quarterback. That's just been a fact. He hasn't been a very good quarterback. There is a legit argument between Cam versus Mac Jones in their camp right now. They are battling it out for the starting quarterback role. But last season, they were also hurt by the most opt-outs in the entire NFL. They had injuries as well. Their run defense was horrible, but they got Kyle Van Noy, and they got Christian Barmore and Henry Anderson to try and solidify that. And I don't think their losses were too big. Adam Butler, Demir Bird, Jason McCourty, Marcus Cannon, Julian Edelman, he retired. It's not too big of a loss.
Still got those guys, McCourty. You still got Jonathan Jones, I believe.
Yes, they have McCourty, J.C. Jackson, Gilmore.
Yeah, they still got them boys out there.
They have an elite defense, and they will be elite next year. But their schedule is tough as well.
Oh, my goodness.
The Saints, the Bucks, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Browns, the Titans, the Colts, and then the Dolphins and Bills twice. They have a pretty tough schedule. Their win forecast, what they're predicted to go, is 9 wins. I think they go 11-6. And they're going to be the second best team in the AFC East. And all year long, the Bills and the Patriots will be fighting for that first place. And even if Cam Newton isn't Cam Newton, Mac Jones is going to be great.
His rookie season,
he's going to show up. Yes, Mac Jones is prepared.
See, that was my thing, because the way I'm looking at the Patriots right now is at some point, Mac Jones is going to take the reins, and New England, they're just going to, I'm not going to say they're going to start losing, but they're not going to be on like the winning pace that they were. Like, I don't think they're full attention unless they're like undefeated or only have 2 losses at the time he comes in. I think once Mac Jones comes in, granted the specifics I just mentioned before, they're just going to be worried about developing him as a quarterback. I think the wins, like I said, unless they're in a pure playoff contention, but then again, even if they are, I don't see him taking the field. I think they're going to stick with Cam if he's the one who got him to that position in the first place. So I really don't see it. I think the Patriots going to win 8 games. I see them going 8-9. I don't think they're beating Miami or Buffalo, but yeah, there's a lot of quarterback controversy for me that kind of takes them away from really, winning the division, like you said.
I would agree with you if their coach wasn't Bill Belichick. I don't think Bill Belichick gives a damn about developing Mac Jones. I think all he cares about is winning. If Mac Jones sucks, you suck, we're not running with you. You're not going out there. if he shows that he's better than Cam Newton, Bill Belichick is going to say, you're starting. I think Bill Belichick is that type of coach where it doesn't matter your status. It doesn't matter the draft pick. You can either play or you can't play. If you can play, you'll play. If you can't, you're not going to see the field. And that's why I think if Mac Jones gets that starting spot, it's because he's earned it.
9-8. Had to do that.
9-8. So the same. Oh, you have the Dolphins 7-10.
Yeah, I still have New England being the second best team in the division. I just think 9-8. They have a tough schedule, and the reason why I think let me start off the acquisitions they got. I know a little bit about Nelson Aguilar. He played for my Eagles. He's all right when he's coming to play. He's still a really good. They picked up some guy, Trent Brown, for the offensive line. They got some linebackers. They got that 2 tight end system that they always had in New England. It always worked for them. So that's going to be good. Like you said, they don't really need an elite wide receiver because that 2 tight end system is going to work. And even when Cam Newton won MVP, he didn't have a elite wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. He had if not elite, he had a great tight end in Greg Olsen at the time. So that works for Cam's game. Like you said, the defense is coming back. That defense before the opt-outs was one of the best defenses in the NFL. That defense was elite. I think with this team, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're kind of having a situation where, as you said, if Cam starts, if I'm not mistaken, Cam and Mac have 2 completely different games. It's kind of like the same with Tua and Fitz. They had 2 different games. If Cam is walking into the season and the offense is geared up for Cam, right, wouldn't it kind of put Mac in a bad spotlight if he's kind of like jumps in there week 6, 7, but the offense was kind of geared towards Mac Jones? I mean, towards Cam. Now you kind of have to tinker it up for it to be, for Mac at that time. Wouldn't that mess them up in a way and put them down in some losses? Because the schedule is tough.
I think Cam Newton's game right now is not what it once was, to the point that you're going to design an entire offense that's schemed around basically his ability to run. I don't think Cam Newton is that guy that the Patriots are looking at and they say, we want you to carry the ball 20 times.
Right.
The system they have in place is a short passing system. And I think Mac Jones, that's where he thrives the most. Cam Newton, he had those situations in New England where it's a 3rd and 1. We're going to QB power and rush you up the middle, and you're going to get this first down. I think that's going to change slightly, but in terms of the offense, I think Mac Jones coming in, it's going to be very similar. I don't think it's a situation where it's RG3 in Washington and Kirk Cousins is coming in.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that. I think it's RG3 after coming off of an injury. Now we have Kirk Cousins. RG3 started. They didn't have success. Now it's Kirk Cousins in the system that he's comfortable in. I think it's that because Cam Newton is not that same player anymore. And because of that, if he's not that same quarterback, you're not going to scheme, or you're not going to create a whole offensive game plan around the skill set that he had 5 years ago.
Right.
I think what he is now is a much conservative quarterback.
Yeah, and that really, Cam Newton's success really predicates on what the record is going to be. I think he'll be mediocre at best, and that would lead to a 9-8 record. Mac Jones, him being experienced at what he is, him being the quarterback at Alabama, I still think it's still, a little too much to say he'll just come in and, be successful. I don't want to say he is, but I don't want to say he isn't. It's a 50-50, but I think, with this schedule being so tough and that division being at where it's at right now, where you have 3 teams that can easily make the playoffs in this division, and a tough schedule. They play Cleveland, they play the Chargers, they play some teams for real. So Cam Newton's gonna really have to step up and have that good season that he used to have. But I think all in all, 9-8 would be a solid record for them. I have them making the playoffs with a 9-8 record. I have New England in my playoffs.
You think they're in the playoffs with the 9-8 record? I don't think so. That's not going to happen.
Well, we don't have the same idea.
You think the Colts and the Titans both win less than 9 games or 9 games flat?
I had both of them win more than 9 games.
So that's 2 teams in the division that go to the playoffs.
I had Colts. You didn't have Colts and Titans going to the playoffs. I had Colts.
No, I had Titans going to the playoffs.
I had both going to the playoffs.
I think Titans will win that division. Okay.
I had Colts going.
That's 2 teams in that division that go to the playoffs.
You got Buffalo.
Buffalo, that's 3. AFC West.
It's
Chiefs.
7 teams that make the playoffs now.
Yeah, okay. Do you have the Chargers winning 10 games or more, 9?
I have not looked at the schedule, so I can't answer that question.
Okay, I do, but now we look at the AFC North. Baltimore, Cleveland, that's 2 right there. That knocks out New England at 9.
Right. Yeah, so now they don't make the playoffs Because then Baltimore, I got Cleveland.
And
I got the
Pittsburgh is not
Chiefs.
going to be a cakewalk
Yeah.
either.
I got Chiefs, Bills. That's 4. Colts, Titans. Yeah, it's not looking too good for. They're still.
That's why I think they make the playoffs for me, but with 11 wins.
I don't think they're gonna get 11 though.
I think they can. I really do.
They can, I think they can, but I don't think they will.
Because that with that elite defense, they're going to be in every single game. Every single game.
No, yeah. It really depends on Cam, man. Cam and Mac. Like, it depends on Cam. What are they gonna do, bro? Because that defense is gonna keep them in the game. Can they capitalize? You know, that's really how it's gonna be. And can Hunter Henry stay on the field?
He's already hurt right now. He's gonna be out a couple weeks.
Like, so now you're already down one of your best guys out there. Hunter Henry, he's had a problem with staying on the field. I mean, Jonnu Smith is good, but you kind of need that 1-2 punch. You know, Nelson Aguilar, he's good. He showed promise last year, but he's had situations in the past where he's dropped the ball and he's made some errors in the fourth quarter. So it's gonna be tough. But like you said, that defense is gonna keep them in probably like 80-90% of their games. So we'll see.
They won 7 games last year, and I think they got significantly better.
But the AFC got better.
Yeah, but not as much as the Patriots did this past offseason.
Which conference did the AFC East play? In the AFC?
They're playing Tampa's conference.
Last year we played the NFC West.
So right now they're playing Tampa in them.
I forgot who else we played too.
You played
The
those.
NFC
what was the
West.
AFC conference week?
I think we played the Raiders.
No.
So we played the AFC West because we played the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Raiders last year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's a tough conference too.
I mean,
This year we played the AFC South and the NFC South.
Yeah.
That's easier than that last year's. I'm not sure. It's gonna be tough.
That's 2 L's.
Now for the last team, the New York Jets. The New York Jets, man.
Go ahead, going a little rant.
Last year we won 2 games. We went 2-14, and we made a lot of additions. Carl Lawson, Corey Davis, Morgan Moses. Even though right now Morgan Moses and George Fant are having a legitimate tackle battle right now. And it's not a given that Moses is going to start over Fant. Gerard Davis, Keelan Cole, Sheldon Rankins, LaMarcus Joyner, Tyler Croft, Vinnie Curry, Tevin Coleman. Then our rookies, Elijah Moore, AVT. I call him ADT because he's going to protect that blind side for Zach Wilson, or the other side. Oh, no, he's the guard. My fault. Still, the blind side with Mekhi Becton, that left side. Michael Carter, Zach Wilson. We made a lot of additions. And our subtractions aren't really noteworthy. I mean, Henry Anderson, Jordan Jenkins.
They were part of a 2-14 team anyway. So.
Brian Poole, I think, was the biggest loss. I think the Jets win 4 more games, and I think they go 6-11. And I think that's a great rookie season for Zach Wilson. Right now, Zach Wilson isn't having too great of a training camp. But honestly,
Yeah, you was recording it. What happened, man?
everybody's already reacting to the training camp. Quarterback struggling training camp.
Not Trey Lance.
Even though I was talking to an NFL player yesterday, and I got his take on Zach Wilson's struggles. And he told me, nah, man, there's something behind that. Which got me a little bit more worried.
You can't exploit his name?
No, I don't feel like it.
Oh, okay.
But because of that, I got a little bit worried. But at the same time, Zach Wilson gave an answer to the press conference, to the media, and he said, I'm going to make these throws in practice because I want to see what I can get away with. And I'd rather make mistakes in practice than make mistakes in the game.
Right.
And that quote, I love that quote. But then again, everybody fell in love with that quote. They said Zach Wilson is so mature and he's so ready for the media. I asked that same player what his thoughts were on the quote, and he said, nah, man, that's not why. He was like, he's just throwing interceptions. So that kind of got me off my rails a little bit. But I think 6 wins is reasonable. I think we have some pretty easy games. Even though these teams are in our kind of tier, they're winnable games. The Panthers, the Falcons, the Bengals, the Texans, the Eagles, and the Jaguars. Those are all winnable games. I think we can win half of those games.
You won't beat us.
That's 3 wins right there. We will for the first time in history. We will. No, don't
You
worry.
think we getting swept by our division?
Oh, you're a Jets fan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
It depends. If the Bills, Dolphins, or Patriots make the playoffs and they don't need to play.
Well, that's the thing I was looking at.
Yeah.
We played Buffalo week 17.
Okay, so that's great because if Buffalo makes the playoffs and they rest, we can win that game too. But also, I think these are toss-up games or like games where we're not favored in at all in. The Broncos, even the Broncos, I think we could win that game. But the Titans, I think, is a loss. The Colts, the Saints, the Bucks, the Patriots twice. Bill Belichick doesn't lose to rookie quarterbacks. Zach Wilson, maybe he could change that, but I don't have faith he will.
You super high on New Orleans, bro.
I am.
Real.
I'm high on New Orleans.
I'm
they
not.
have the same team outside
Winston.
of. I think they
That's
had a
what he is.
Drew Brees problem.
Oh god.
Drew Brees, his last 2 seasons with the Saints was not that good.
I mean,
It's a bottom
In
line.
the regular season or in the playoffs?
Both.
In the regular season,
He
was
limited
good.
their offense. Jameis Winston, he's a slinger.
But his we'll see. His accuracy is pretty.
yeah, it was
His
bad.
decision making isn't that good either. We'll see though.
He was blind.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. So we'll see.
But that's why I think we have a lot of winnable games. That's why I say 6. Because even between the Titans, Colts, Saints, Bucks, Patriots, Dolphins, and Bills, we can surprise one of those teams. There will be one game where Zach Wilson has that aha and he goes crazy.
I don't know if this is a season for that, yo. Because I don't know, man. Because my thing with Zach Wilson is that I'm happy they brought back Jamison Crowder because I talked about them having a safety blanket for like rookie QBs. I think Jamison Crowder is going to be their safety blanket. Usually it'd be a tight end like Chris Herndon or something, but he sucks, so that don't matter. But I mean, they're definitely going to be making him sling it every single game. Elijah Moore was a huge addition. Tevin Coleman in the backfield ain't too bad either. But I was looking at the games. I think the only games we gonna win, like for real, are Carolina.
I don't even think y'all could beat Carolina, man.
Cincy, Philly, and Jacksonville. But here's the thing: I think Sam Darnold gonna have a revenge game in Week 1. I already told you this. Sam Darnold gonna be like a dark horse for MVP. Like, I'm stuck on that.
Sam
For
Darnold
real.
is so garbage.
Nah, yo,
He's going to be one of the worst quarterbacks in the league again next season.
I don't think.
He's actually having a bad camp.
No, I know.
No, he threw
is.
like 12 picks.
Yeah,
In
Wait,
camp.
12?
Yes.
Already?
in
Yes.
6 days or 5 days, or
Something like that. It was 12. Yeah, in a week.
He's at a point where he can't give that Zach Wilson answer. That's who
Yeah,
he is
yeah.
as a quarterback.
Well, I mean,
And Carolina doesn't have an exceptional defense.
Yo, 12 picks.
Given that offensive talent, to not go crazy with that talent against that defense.
Yeah, if he would have said that
that's
excuse
alarming.
after throwing 12 picks in 5 days, I'd have just looked at him and been defeated. Because it's like, bro, what are you talking about?
Jalen Hurts has been bad in camp too.
I figured that. That's why we haven't made a decision yet. I was never high on Hurts. It is.
I wasn't either.
Yeah,
I heard he was better than Ryan Tannehill.
I heard he was better than a lot of guys, bro. You know
I
what I'm
heard
saying?
Jake Fromm was better than Ryan Tannehill. Why
that's
your man?
crazy.
Hey man, I don't.
Your boy.
Yeah,
You said
He
that.
said that. I didn't say that. He said that. But listen, the Jets, they had an A+ offseason, man. You got your guy. You traded that other guy. Thank God. You finally got a franchise quarterback that you can build around. He got some swag. He got some oomph to him. He has a lot of talent, so that's good. You have a franchise quarterback. Not to mention, instead of, with Sam Darnold, you got Sam Darnold. You guys didn't bring any talent with him. With Zach Wilson, you did. You brought some offensive line help. You brought some receivers there. I wouldn't say built up the defense at an elite level, but you did bring some guys
Got
in.
Mosley back.
Yeah, you did bring in some guys for defense. You guys had a few guys that were injured last year that's coming back from injury. So that's good too. And I think you did the best with what you could do, and that's good. Your GM showed signs of life. He showed that he is a competent GM that can make some solid moves, and I think that's a good thing. You went in the right direction as opposed to previous years where you kind of went in the wrong direction. So at that point, in a rebuild situation, I think that's good for any team. And like you said, you guys weren't in win mode now anyway, so just bringing in guys to just see what Zach Wilson's going to do is great. Corey Davis is a good addition. Like you said, bringing back Jamison Crowder. You got Elijah Moore. You still have Denzel Mims waiting to break out and have that year 2 explosion. So I think that's 4 receivers right there just waiting. So, I think Zach Wilson is probably going to have a really good rookie year, but all in all, Jets did good. You guys aren't going to win 6 games. You're probably going to win 4.
As much as I hate to admit it, I think Denzel Mims, I'm out on Mims.
You just started on him.
He just got what's it called? Food poisoning. Did you hear
Did?
that?
I didn't hear about that.
He lost 20 pounds in a
Wait.
matter of like a week.
Hold
Wow.
on, because this guy is crazy. What do you mean you're out
You
on
was
Denzel?
you were mad high on him last
what do you
year, yo.
Because Mims,
Nothing has happened for you to change
Mims
your mind.
in training camp, he hasn't been good.
It's training.
No,
camp,
it's different
bro.
for receivers.
Oh,
Keelan Cole is beating him out.
Okay, but bro, let the
Bro,
season play
Elijah
out.
Moore is better. Keelan Cole is better.
They didn't even
Crowder's
play a
better.
game yet.
And Corey Davis is better.
Okay, wait a minute. You can't tell if me and him walk into camp and I have a season on my belt. You can't tell him he's better than me. He hasn't played NFL football yet. He hasn't played against real competition.
Elijah
yet.
Moore is different.
Different in training camp
How?
against your corners.
AJ Brown said Elijah Moore is different.
Good for him. I'm glad he said that.
No, they went to the same college, Ole Miss.
Okay,
Yeah,
they
I
played.
You know what?
yeah,
you know
they
what
might
AJ
go.
Brown. You know what AJ Brown said?
Oh my god.
AJ Brown said, "I'm putting money on him to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's somebody I'll bet on."
Good for him. I'm
Yo,
glad he
that's
did
his boy. What you want him
Now
to say?
all I'm saying is that
bro.
yo, when he got drafted too, AJ Brown was there. He was crying and said, "Yo, you taught me so much, bro. You're gonna be great." I believe him. AJ Brown he don't lie, bro.
I just can't
He
believe
be
you're,
spitting.
you're
He
out
be
on.
spitting.
You told me Mims like if I can go back in the messages, you were raving about Mims.
Yo, and that you were putting him over so many because he came out of a star-studded wide receiver.
You want to know
class.
why?
mm-hmm.
You want to know why? I'll tell you this.
Training camp changed your
I-
training.
No,
camp.
it's not that. It's because Mims, I didn't realize the type of character he was.
What the?
You know,
What
because
kind of character?
Yeah, I want to.
once he got drafted, I'm gonna let everybody know this story. Once Denzel Mims got drafted, he put out on his Instagram story that who wants to be in a Madden league, and I replied and I said, "Yo, I'll be in a Madden league." He said, "I bet." I was in the same Madden franchise as Denzel Mims, so I had him as a friend on PlayStation. When I tell you that this dude is on PlayStation every single day,
So is AD.
he's okay, but AD's established. Denzel Mims was on PlayStation every day. I don't know if he was working on his game as much as these other guys are working on their game. I also did ask him to be on the podcast, never answered back.
So that's really why you hate him.
Look, it's bad luck when you don't. It's bad luck when you don't accept invitations on the podcast. It's bad luck. There have been a few players that have denied requests to be on the podcast. All I'm saying, the track record for their success after is not that good.
So you're out on Mims. Please don't jump back on the
You're
bandwagon. We
for
don't have
real
time
out.
for this. Bro.
I am out on Mims.
So you're out. This is the
Yes.
official after training camp. You're done with him.
Yes.
Okay. So you're in.
I just don't think he works on his game enough. I don't think he works on his game enough.
So you're in on more. Like you're in.
I am all the
Locked
way
in on more.
I'm
Okay.
locked in.
All right, man.
I'm locked in. Security
All
lock.
right. Security. Okay. Making sure.
I'm photo vault locked in on Elijah Moore.
All
Don't
right.
need a passcode for me to not be locked in on him no more.
Okay. I'm just making sure you stand. in
But
the-
yeah, that's why I'm not so high on Mims. I don't know if he works on his game enough, and because of that, I'm not sure. Where he's at.
I mean, he coming off that, like I said, food poisoning.
Dude got food poisoning. That sucks.
That's unfortunate. I feel sorry for him. But the reality of the situation is that Corey Davis is going to start.
Yeah.
Jamison
Yeah.
Crowder is going to start.
That third guy.
Keelan Cole is better than Denzel Mims.
Mm.
And Elijah Moore, he's not just a slot. He can play outside.
He can be a deep threat too.
a
And
pretty
that's
solid
why.
receiving
And that's
core.
why I don't know if Denzel Mims is going to get that opportunity. Last year, he was okay, but he lacked separation. He didn't have that burst of speed.
And I know I talked up Sam, but his QB was also Sam too. So.
I know. I mean, you think he's an MVP though? Fringe
dark
MVP.
horse.
I mean now, but like
Boy got DJ
Back
Moore
then.
out there, man.
DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, his leading receiver.
He has
for his
12
first 2
picks in
years.
Robbie
5
doesn't
games.
even like Sam.
How do you know that?
Because I saw an article about how he basically talked about how Sam was the reason why he didn't have much success in New York.
12 picks in 5 days, man.
There was a highlight reel of Sam like overthrowing Robbie, and then Robbie liked the tweet and said, and I think he replied to it and said, I forgot what he said, but he basically acknowledged the fact that Sam wasn't a very good
First
quarterback.
first Jets game I ever went to, Jets and Bills. I went to that game. I was security for it last season, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was last season. If it was last season, the year before, wherever y'all played Jets week 1, y'all played the Bills week 1, and y'all were up like 17-0
At
on them.
Buffalo or in,
No, I wouldn't
that was
never.
2 seasons.
I wouldn't travel to Buffalo.
If Denzel Mims doesn't succeed with the Jets, that podcast, that Pick Aside podcast request denial is real.
Mm.
The curse is real. That's why if you're a player, we reach out, you better accept because players don't tend to. We're like the 2K curse.
Oh my god! I saw Sam Darnold throw a deep ball to Robbie, and Robbie had to run back and get it, and safety almost took his head off, like literally almost killed Robbie. And I was like, wow, this dude sucks.
Yeah, I'm not high on Sam, bro.
Y'all blew a 17-point lead after that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there was that game.
I forced myself to be high on Sam, but I never was high on Sam. I really wasn't. Out of college, he just didn't have the quarterback face.
I mean, this is my last stand for him. Like, if he don't do nothing, like if he doesn't at least show a sign of growing.
I mean, you said dark horse MVP, so he got to show more than the sign. Like,
well, I mean,
he got to show life. Like, sheesh.
I still believe
On to the next topic. The Cincinnati Bengals have not extended Jessie Bates, and they are not planning to. Jeremy Fowler reported that they are not expected to reach a contract agreement, and this is shocking news to me. And there are quite a couple of news coming out of the Bengals camp. You know, Joe Burrow hasn't been so great in camp so far. He had this one good practice, though, the other day. Jamar Chase, there's been a report that he has been lacking that separation in camp. And now Jessie Bates. And for me, Jessie Bates is one of the best safeties in the NFL right now. Since getting drafted, he has had over 100 tackles, 3 interceptions in each season, and last year he had 15 pass breakups. PFF, if I'm not mistaken, ranked him as the number one safety in the entire NFL. He's only 24 years old. I don't get why they don't want to extend him. Maybe it's because he's asking for too much money. I mean, we're Jets fans. We went through that with Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams wanted $20 million a year, and Joe Douglas said, okay, we're going to trade you. And we traded him. We got 2 first-round picks, and now we are where we're at. I think Jessie Bates makes the Bengals secondary look that much better because last year they had William Jackson, Mackenzie Alexander, Darius Phillips. They were good, but they weren't exceptional. Jessie Bates masked a lot of their mistakes. And this year they got worse. Mike Hilton, Awuzie, Trey Waynes, Darius Phillips. Their corners aren't great. So Jessie Bates this year is probably going to have to do even more to mask that secondary. And since getting drafted, their defense has been getting better. 2018, they were the 30th ranked defense. 2019, they were the 25th ranked defense. And 2018, they were the 22nd ranked defense. Since Jessie Bates has got there, they have been getting better every year. And if I were them, I would sign him in a heartbeat because he is a game-changing player.
Yeah, I agree. Not to mention he's young. You know, so you got to have a young safety. You know, I think he's not about 24, 25, maybe 26, but he's around Justin Simmons' age, and you got a young safety right now who can change the game at that pace and who can mask a lot of the errors that a lot of your cornerbacks who are probably old. I think William Jackson is older than him with more experience. And
he's in Washington.
Well, he played.
Oh, yeah, last year. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, messing up my thought, man. But you got a safety at that young age who's able to mask a lot of the weaknesses of your corners and your other safety. I think that's somebody you need to keep. And like you said, Cincinnati is in rebuild process. Joe Burrow's young. You know, T. Higgins, who broke out last year, he's young. Jamar Chase, who you just drafted, is young. Like, these are even I'm blanking on it. Tyler Boyd, still young. So, you got a young team, and to lose your safety or not want to pay your safety, and I get it. Paying a safety $20 million a year, it gets a little stretchy, but you know I think this is a little different than Jamal Adams because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys didn't want to pay him because he kind of was like a linebacker, if I'm not mistaken. With Jessie Bates, though, he can cover, he can play man, he can play in the zone, so I think this is a little bit different situation. And with the Bengals, they don't have a lot of talent. So you have to capitalize on what you have right now. This is a player, a high-caliber player who's one of the best safeties in the NFL, and you need to pay him his money or you're going to lose him to a team. And he might go to a team in your division, and then you're going to have to play him twice a year.
He's a free agent after this season, too.
My thing is, like, when you're rebuilding a franchise, like, you're trying to set a new tone. And Cincinnati ain't seen something good in I don't even know how long. So
It's Marvin Lewis.
Since Marvin Lewis. But in my, like, humble opinion, it's like I think if you want to, like, kickstart this, like, culture turn, one of the main things the team can do is showing that you know how to keep, like, your best players. So, I mean, you got arguably the best safety in the league, and you're just going to let them walk. I understand now, granted, because it looks like they, like, going all in on their offense. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and, like you mentioned, T. Higgins. You still got Joe Mixon in the backfield. And Tyler Boyd. I understand maybe going all in on the offense is like your go-to. And, you know, $20 million a year to your one best defensive player might kind of mess that up. But, I mean, it takes a lot. Because I remember with the Jamal Adams thing, like, Jamal Adams was asking for his money, But my thing was, if he really wants like the Jets to win, I think he would understand that there's like much more important pieces that all this money can go to. And I'm not trying to like get that out of Jessie Bates or whatever, but like it's hard on teams when a defensive player asks for that kind of money, unless it's like a Lawrence Taylor or something, like a safety. It's kind of like come and go, but I mean, like I still see it as that.
I think the Jets are in a different situation than the Bengals were because the Jets had no positions filled outside of safety, Jamal Adams. I think right now the Bengals do. They have their receivers. They have their quarterback of the future. They have their running back. You look at their defensive line. They have that with DJ Reader, Trey Hendrickson, and Sam Hubbard. They have that filled up. Their linebackers are average. Their corners, they paid for corners. And their offensive line is getting better with Riley Reef and Jonah Williams and Quinn Spain. Trey Hopkins isn't too bad. They're in a better position to just pay guys because right now Joe Burrow on his rookie quarterback deal, you have that luxury to overpay for a safety, to give him a big contract because Joe Burrow's quarterback is not coming up. He's still getting paid pennies on a dollar, basically. I would pay Jessie Bates in a heartbeat, but I want to get your thoughts on this as well. Jamar Chase, there's been a report that he's not showing much separation in camp right now. Do you think that's a big deal, or you think it's not a big deal?
What you mean?
I think it's a big deal because of the fact that you're in training camp and you're playing corners that we just established aren't that good, or they're not going to be. You're in a division where you're going to see Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphreys twice a year, and then you got to go to Pittsburgh where you're going to see Joe Hayden, Minkah Fitzpatrick twice a year. And then Cleveland, when you got to see Denzel Ward twice a year. So this ain't no walk in the park division. This is a division where you see top-notch talent at that secondary position.
Jamar Chase also said Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
That's his comment on it.
You know what?
He was asked about his struggles.
That was such a Zach Wilson comment from like, okay, Rome wasn't built in a day. Okay. I'm here.
I'm not too worried about Jamar Chase.
I'm not worried.
Because out of college, I thought he was a jump ball receiver. I think that's what he's going to be. He's just his size overwhelms corners to the point that you just throw it up. He's going to come down with it. But also there's been reported that he's not coming down with those in camp. But he also didn't play football in about a year. He opted out last season.
He definitely did.
He's still getting into the rhythm of the game. Because of that, this is not too big of a deal.
It's something though.
If this was like their only receiver that you're counting on, 100%.
He'll probably be playing against third stringers. So,
but with T. Higgins and with Tyler Boyd there, it's gonna free up Jamar Chase a lot more than if he would have went to the Jets per se. And you only have like Crowder next to you. I think the Bengals are in a better position to make Jamar Chase look better. But obviously, this is a debate because people thought the Bengals should have taken Penei Sewell.
But then again, it's like he's not getting open against third stringers on the Bengals.
Well, we're not sure if he's going up against those third stringers.
But okay. Well,
I think all of those guys are in the same tier, though. Trey Waynes,
true.
Mike Hilton.
Yeah.
Like, they're in the same tier.
But I'm saying he can't get open against them. All right, well.
Joe Burrow also hasn't been having a great camp.
He's also coming off an injury, too. Yeah. They just got a lot of coming off of things, so they got to figure it out. I think he'll be okay down the line, but it sounds like to me, like you said, I don't know, you just was out on Denzel Mills for training camp, so what you think?
Well, I think Jamar Chase is different than Denzel.
Okay.
I don't have any personal experience with Jamar Chase in terms of I don't have him on PlayStation. I can't see if he's on the game. I saw Denzel playing. I saw Denzel Mills playing. He was playing NBA My Park.
What?
I saw him playing Warzone. Like, I seen that on my PlayStation. Denzel Mims, or his name was like, I think.
He's on every day.
I'm not going to, shout out his like PSN, but I saw his PSN. It was like Warzone.
So he's on the game every day.
From what I seen, yes, he was. Every single time I hop on, I seen him. I seen his name.
You don't work for like the Jets, so it's like you have mad time.
That's all I see, bro. I don't be on places like that though, so maybe in the times that I'm on, I see him. But yeah, every time I'm on, I do see him. Yeah.
Okay, so he's like when you on, like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna hit Denzel up because I know he's on. That makes sense. All right.
Yeah, but he was on. That's why I think Jamar Chase is also way more talented than Denzel.
Agreed.
Yeah, like I don't think it's a debate. Like Jamar is a freak of nature.
Agreed.
But I think Elijah Moore might be the best receiver in this class.
Oh God, here we go.
Elijah
you
Moore's
said the same thing
Elijah
about
Moore's the
Denzel.
dog. Nah, I didn't.
You was talking about him like he was a god.
I
bro.
told you about Chase Claypool though.
You did.
I told you about. I was right
You
about.
told me about Jalen Rieger too.
It's rookie season.
No.
Oh my God, yo.
It's his rookie season.
Nah, I don't want to hear that. You told me about him too. You pissed.
I told
me
you
off.
about a lot of receivers that ended
Yeah.
up being good.
You told me I give you the Claypool one.
I think I had like 7 out of 10.
You told me
I went
forgot.
7
you,
out of 10.
You told me like 15 guys, bro. There was a lot of guys you named. You told me about Mooney. I remember that. And Mooney was good. You definitely told me about Mooney. But the Rieger one will forever stick out to me because I seen him.
It's his rookie year though.
That one hurt.
Got to
me.
give him a break.
You really made me.
If you knew how Jalen Rieger was doing in camp,
Mhm.
I would be like, okay, you got it. But I don't know how he's been doing in camp. I know Denzel Mims has been bad.
I know the only person that's been getting rave out of camp is Devontae Smith out of the receiver. Oh, and Travis Fulgham. But Rieger has been hurt, so
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we'll see sooner rather than later.
Yes, we will. Yes.
Jalen Rieger. Now on to the NBA portion of the episode. Cade Cunningham versus Jalen Green. They faced off on Tuesday. And simple question, who do you think won the matchup? And recap the game for us. You know, what did you see from Cade? What did you see from Jalen Green? But ultimately, who won the matchup?
You know, people are going to think I have a bit of a bias towards Cade because I've been posting a lot of Detroit Pistons stuff and, reposting Cade. But I think, the way the game went, I'm just speaking off. I know people are going to look at just the box score and think Jalen won the matchup. But I think people need to really go watch the game and specifically look at when Cade and Jalen matched up, like when they were guarding each other. And I think when they matched up together, I think Cade won the matchup. I think starting off in the first half, you've seen a lot of turnovers from Jalen Green. I think you've seen a lot of the game plan. Jalen coming off a screen. I think what they've noticed in Jalen Green is he's good in a pick and roll if he's looking to score. But when he's looking to be a playmaker or when he's turned into a playmaker, he makes a lot of turnovers. He makes bad decisions. So what I noticed from Detroit is when he sets a screen, they blitz him. They blitz him hard or they hit him off the double. On Cade, and what I noticed, Cade was taking him a lot off the dribble. He was posting him up. He kind of was playing bully ball with Jalen Green, using his size to his advantage. Even one time he hit him on a Euro step. He kind of moved him with his body, so I noticed that a lot too. Jalen Green didn't really feel comfortable until Cade was out the game, and his coach, I don't know Houston's coach, but his coach put Jalen in the game, and it was kind of like Cade wasn't out, and Jalen kind of got the rhythm. Josh Christopher, we seen him a little bit on Cade. I think he was a bit more effective on Cade than Jalen Green. But all in all, I think, watching them two match up, you could just see with Jalen, he's going to be an elite scorer in this league. You see it. It's there. He has the moves. He has the talent. It's just I think his frame is going to be a little bit, tricky his rookie year, but he's going to figure that out. With Cade, you just seen him so much in the game, be a vocal leader, be a playmaker. The jump shot is obviously there, be a scorer. But all in all, I think the matchup went to Cade when they matched up together. But obviously, Jalen won the game. He scored more points. But I think Cade won the individual matchup.
Yeah, I'll say that too. I'm huge on Cade right now. For me, I don't know. When I was watching the game, they were like, "Oh, Cade got 4 turnovers. Jalen Green got 4 turnovers." I'm like, "All right," but they were holding the ball the most time. That's just bound to happen throughout that. But looking at the numbers, Cade with a -8 and Jalen Green had a plus 17. So, I mean, I'm gonna be real. I did not watch that game, but I still feel like Cade Cunningham's overall game is way better than Jalen Green. I mean, that's pretty much, I don't know if it's obvious, but I feel like that's just a general consensus right there. But for me, I just think Cade, when I see Cade play in college, it's like he'll figure it out. He's got the intelligence to it. I feel like that's a point that a lot of people don't discuss in the NBA. Like, your basketball IQ takes you a long way. Now, Jalen Green being a scorer, that already speaks to his IQ enough, knowing how to get to your spots and get those shots off. But Cade, I mean, he's a great passer, and he's good. Like I said, the IQ is better. So, I mean, yeah, Jalen Green won this matchup, but, going into the future and looking in terms of, who's going to have a better career. I'm not going to pick that out right now, but Cade has a way better all-around game, and I think that's like going to speak to it in the future.
Rev,
Yo.
watching this game, was tuned in. I was actually playing basketball while this game was happening.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I was playing basketball, but then once the game started, I said, yo, subbing out. I'm tuned in. YouTube TV, great luxury to have.
Same.
I was watching it, was tuned in, locked in. I don't think that matters much about when they were both on the court. What I was looking for was who looked better. When I watched the game, who looked better? It was Jalen Green. Jalen Green had 25 points. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists. You say that he wasn't that great of a playmaker. You know, it's hard for anybody to play make when they're double teaming you near half court. I mean, Jalen Green was getting blitzed. He was getting doubled. He was getting the James Harden treatment in a summer league game. That's how dangerous Jalen Green is. I don't think Houston saw Cade as that dangerous. I think they saw him as, okay, he'll get his buckets, but we aren't necessarily worried about that. I will say this. Cade impressed me in the way that he communicates on defense. And when we did our scouting report on Cade, we said that. Defensively, he's a vocal leader. Cade is that. But he shot 8 for 18. That's not great efficiency. 4 for 9 from 3. I love that efficiency. He had that one move on Jalen Green that was a highlight. It was a great move. But the Rockets won this game by 20. Jalen Green showed out. And my guy, Alperen Şengün, he showed out too. I told you about Alperen now.
Yeah.
I told you about Alperen. He had 21, 8, and 4 blocks. I told you about that man. He's dangerous.
Summer League, bro.
He's dangerous. I told you about that man. And Josh Christopher, he was really good too. 15 points. I think Christopher, man, he wasn't on my radar in the draft. I didn't bother scouting him, and I regret it because this guy is explosive. He can get to the basket. For the Pistons, Luka Garza was okay. He looked good.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, he dropped 20 pounds, so he's trying to be more agile. But the biggest thing that stood out to me this game, it wasn't on the Rockets. It wasn't about Jalen Green. It wasn't about Cade Cunningham. It was Killian Hayes. I'm worried about Killian Hayes. I'm worried about the player he's going to become. I was going to say something about that too.
Not even the player. I was worried about the fit.
I'm just worried about Killian Hayes because it's evident that he is not a playmaker. He's not a guy who can be the primary facilitator on the offense. He's not a good shooter. He lacks aggression. He's an elite defender, though. In terms of defense, he's a great defender. And Jalen Green had his moments against Killian. He was giving him the business. If Killian doesn't develop a jump shot, he's going to be on the bench soon. He has to develop a 3-point shot. What's going to keep him afloat is that defense. But that 3-point shot has to catch up. And I think now what I project him to be is more of a 3-and-D guard. And I think that's a better fit next to Cade. But I'm worried about Killian Hayes. He has been horrible in the Summer League. 6 points. You're in your second year. You played overseas. You know, we're expecting you to be better. And he hasn't been. I'm worried about Killian Hayes. That's for sure.
Well, I'm not going to make a, grand big deal over Summer League. Summer League is a good observation, but
I agree. But Killian wasn't good when he played last year.
No, I'm going to get into that. Killian, like you said, he wasn't good when he got the opportunity to play last year. But speaking on that, I do think Cade's best success, and I think Detroit's going to realize it's him being the lead guard. I think that's when I know we talked about him playing the 3 or being. I think he needs to be the certified 1 and just be versatile in that aspect. I think we've kind of figured that out early. I didn't think it'd be this early where we figured it out, but Summer League game 2, he needs to be there. I think him off ball, he can do that, but I don't think Killian is the guy to let that happen to. I think if it was somebody else, maybe like a magical situation with Chris Paul or something like that, that would be fine. But Killian isn't that guy. And like you said, Şengün definitely he was showing some moves against those bigs, and Josh Christopher.
You saw that elbow.
Yeah, I did. I saw that. He was showing out. Man. Sekou Diombe, I don't know how to say his name. He was playing really good too. He showed some flashes. It was a lot of talent on the court in that Houston versus Detroit game. A lot of young talent, but I think rookies versus rookies, obviously Houston's rookies showed out for sure. But, when you say Jalen Green showed out, I don't know, bro. From a scoring aspect, of course, but I think Jalen Green's always going to show out in that aspect. I think, but from an overall game, you can't tell me Jalen Green showed you anything more than he's just going to be an elite scorer.
I mean, that's what I'm expecting him to be.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like
and scoring is the most important thing in basketball.
But it's not. It is, but it's not, because the best scorers in the league aren't the most important players in the league. Numbers wise.
I disagree.
Yeah, I was about to say right now.
You think Steph Curry is one of the best scorers in the league?
Yeah.
He's one of the most important too.
But Bradley Beal isn't.
What about James Harden?
James Harden statistically wasn't one of the best scorers this year.
In Houston, every year he was there, he was one of the top.
But he was also
the top scorer.
But he was also one of the best playmakers in the league. So it's a give me more. Like, what else can you do? I think Jalen
Devin
Green.
Booker showed that this past year. I mean, one of the best scorers in the league was one of the most important players too.
That's a good one.
I just believe that we look at these scorers in Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine in Chicago, and we see that, okay, they put up these numbers, but they don't make the playoffs. But then the argument is that
they get a point guard.
The argument is that they don't have a good team around them either.
Yeah, but I think that's what I think is going to be the key. What can you put next to Jalen Green that's going to kind of mask what he can't do?
I think when you have a guy like KPJ who can score and pass like he can, when you have Christian Wood, when you have Alperen Şengün rising up those ranks, when you have Usman Garuba,
has he played yet?
No, he hasn't. I think their young core is one of the best in the league. If we're talking about 23 and under, probably one of the best. Maybe Atlanta, I'm not sure about their answers. John Collins is older. So I would say maybe 22 and under, Houston has the best young core.
Charlotte got some hoopers out there too.
They do. No doubt about
Charlotte's up there.
Houston is there, but the West is tough. I don't expect Jalen Green to make an immediate impact on winning.
I expect him to average 20 a game.
But as he grows into his body, as he gets bulkier, to me, I just think Jalen Green has that mindset where he's not going to be a horrible defender in the league.
I think, and you know what else? You know what stuck out to me? Jalen is
and Jalen Green was relishing that matchup. He guarded Cade.
They was guarding each other.
I know, but Jalen Green was like, I'm not going to be hidden. I'm not going to Steph Curry it. I'm guarding you.
Yeah, but that's where he was so worried about that, and this is why one of the things why I love Cade's mindset. And I think Cade is going to be one of the best leaders. He wasn't worried about that matchup. He was just worried about being better as a player, being better for his team. That he was on that mindset. He didn't even entertain the matchup.
That's amazing.
And even Jalen relished the matchup and didn't perform that great in the one-on-one matchup. So
that was great. And Cade had that team first mentality and lost by 20.
No, for sure.
And Jalen Green, statistically on the box score, had the better numbers and had his team win.
We watched the game though.
Houston's young core is crazy. That's why.
Yeah,
And Alperen Şengün was next level too. He was cooking.
Yeah. Detroit, they was missing shots. They was missing a lot of shots. But Houston definitely has a very interesting young core. I didn't think Josh Christopher would be as advanced as he is. I thought it would take him a year or two, but he's definitely shown out. Defensive, he was always there. Defensively, the effort was always there. But he's shown the ability that he can guard at a high level, and that's good too. And Şengün, showing the post work, showing that the ability to get to the line at all times, no matter who's guarding him. I think that was impressive too. All in all, Houston we're still waiting for Garuba.
I'm just gonna say this. My biggest takeaway from the game was Killian Hayes. It wasn't Green or Cade. I'm really worried about Killian Hayes.
You was high on him too.
I was high on him. I wasn't crazy high on him though.
But he was high.
I thought he was good. No doubt about it. But Killian Hayes is the biggest takeaway in this game for me. If I was watching and, you've been keeping up with the young players getting drafted, Killian Hayes is the guy that sticks out you have to be better.
I agree. I think what the takeaway for me was obviously Detroit's youth. I think they have a really good youth aside from Killian not showing up. I think Sadiq Bey, I don't know how to say his name, Diombe, Seiko, him, Cade, even Luke Garza, he performed admirably. I think those four guys, coming into a young Detroit system, I think that they're going to be really good. They have some chemistry together, but like you said, Killian Hayes, he didn't look like an alpha on that court, being that he's the oldest, the most mature, and he's the most experienced on that court. He didn't look like that on that court at all.
On to talking about Summer League and moving on what rookie has impressed you the most so far in Summer League?
I got 3.
I have 2. Well, I have actually 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5.
You go first.
But I'm gonna name 2.
Oh, okay.
Because you might name somebody that I was gonna name, so it's whatever. Alperen Şengün.
Okay.
I mean, this guy is, 18 points, 11.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists per game, 4 blocks. He has 10 free throw attempts per game and whispers into the ball every single time he shoots.
That's very weird.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Alperen Şengün, though, I'll say this. He's been dominant in Summer League, but I'm not surprised because the Turkish League competition is better than what he's facing in the Summer League. And Riv, I told you that when we were talking about these foreign players, I told you these guys overseas are better than these college players. If you put Alperen with these guys in college, he's going to look like a man amongst boys. And he's been doing that against college stars. Like if he was facing a team from the Big East every other game with centers like, a guy who was going to get drafted, he's dominating. Alperen Şengün has a motor, and I know you saw that close to half-court 3 that he shot.
His three-point shooting is horrible.
I know he made that. He did not touch rim at all. It was a swish all day.
I know he made that, but this three-pointer is bad.
Alperen Şengün, he's different. I think he's going to be a really good player. I want to see how his defense transitions to the NBA once he actually plays. But as an offensive player, I told you, his production will be no less than Dennis Cantor. At worst, Alperen Şengün is going to be a 14-8 guy. I think his ceiling is much higher, though. He was a top 10 pick for me. Not sure why he fell. And the second guy, Deuce McBride. I mean, yesterday, hitting like 6 threes. One of the main reasons why we won that game against the Lakers in the Summer League. He's shown great flashes of elite defensive ability. He's a great floor spacer. He has a good mid-range pull-up. And now when the Knicks face Atlanta, and we need a guy to put on Trae Young, he's going to lock up Trae Young. And I believe that. Deuce McBride, look, they don't call him Deuce McBride for nothing. He's a lockdown guy. He's going to guard Trae and he's going to lock him up. So I think Deuce McBride, Alperen Şengün, those are my 2 guys.
Name one more. I have 3.
Well, my other
you
one.
didn't name nobody I named, so.
My other one was Trey Murphy.
Okay. I didn't get to watch his game yet.
I think Trey Murphy, the floor spacer he is, he's going to fit right alongside Zion and Ingram. And when we were talking about the draft and the trade between Memphis and the Pelicans, I said this was great for them to move back to 17. Because at 17, Duarte, Murphy, or Kispert will be there. Duarte, Kispert weren't there, but Murphy was there. And I think they were looking for an NBA-ready player, and Trey Murphy's that. 6'7", around 6'8", great shooter, great defensive player. He's a great fit next to Zion and Ingram.
So my list is based off guys who I think game is still going to translate outside of Summer League. I think they'll still be able to keep it. So my first is James Bucknight. I think not even just the numbers, but his advancement and moves and the way he presents, comes up and presents the game, how paced he is and how technical he is in his game. I think that was impressive to see watching him play. You just saw a bit of a pace and advancement in his game. Like he's been in this league for about 4 or 5 years. That was great for me. Number 2, Jonathan Kuminga. I think we didn't expect him to be this. We knew the uber athleticism, but what we saw in the G League is a guy who took a lot of jump shots. He kind of just settled a lot. He's not settling in the Summer League. He's taking guys to the basket. His shot selection is still a little bit poor, but on the fast break, he's going. He's strong, he's physical, and he's shown the ability to finish in contact. So I think that was a great one.
Yeah, I played Scotty.
Yeah, that was actually a really great game too. He's been definitely impressive. And LiAngelo Ball, how could you not say him?
Come on, bro. I don't worry about him.
Like LiAngelo Ball, I think the fact that LeVar said he was the best 3-point shooter in his family, that's clear as day. His jump shot is absolutely water. His body is definitely NBA ready. I think he has an NBA body. His defense is there. He's a solid defender, but I think his 3-point shooting is going to keep him in the NBA. And that's a great addition for a Charlotte team, for a guy like LaMelo who loves to run, who's a great playmaker, who can find the guy in the corner. LaMelo Ball is going to, pardon me, LiAngelo Ball is going to be open to be able to hit that 3-point shot. So that's 3 guys that's been impressed. I was going to say Sharif, but he had a bad first game. But you saw that second game, so don't hate. You saw that second game, so I ain't going to say too much. Game winner, he showed out. Those my 3 guys for sure.
See, I only got 2. For me, Emmanuel quickly, and I picked my guys based off of like how they would fit with the team once the season started. So, looking at the Knicks, who were hoping to make another playoff.
Oh, you're a Knicks fan too?
No, I'm a Knicks fan. But
I should say Cam Thomas. He had a good game yesterday.
He did.
I got to finish watching all the games.
But yeah, Emmanuel quickly for me. Dropped 30 in his first game they played. The second game he dropped, in the most recent game he dropped 25. But I still think about like where he's gonna fit on that Knicks team. When I first saw him play, I thought he'd be like, yo, the point guard of the future for you guys. But now you guys got Kemba. You brought back D Rose.
Somebody called him Steph Curry on Twitter. You know what I'm talking about too. He killed me with that, man.
That's crazy. But now they got RJ Barrett too. Well, they've been have RJ Barrett, but like I don't know how he's gonna fit behind Barrett either. But I mean, he's showing he deserves time on the court, which is important. So that's huge. Obi Toppin too. He's been going crazy. Another guy has been Patrick Williams, and like I said, in a team right now that's like Chicago's making moves. Like they don't want to be a team that's out first round. They really want to go to Eastern Conference Finals. But Patrick Williams, making noise in the summer league, I think that's huge to show that he can come into next season and like truly make like a big step and help out everyone else that they just acquired. I think that's big. So those are my 2 guys.
James Buckner had 23 today against the Spurs. Trey Jones had 34. LiAngelo Ball had 8. 2 for 6 from 3, 3 for 9 from the field. I'm not sold on the Ball bros outside of LaMelo. I'm not sold on Lonzo. I'm not sold on
as
LiAngelo.
NBA players.
LiAngelo is borderline.
I think he can get in.
I don't know about that.
I think he can get in.
I will be honest,
Listen,
though.
right now, just because his brother's on the team, he's going.
I did rebuild the Hornets on 2K, and I do have all 3 of them on the same team.
That's dope.
I also traded for Onyeka. So I have Onyeka and I have the Ball bros. You guys didn't mention these guys, so I'm going to mention it.
Neither did you.
Jalen Green. I mean,
he was obvious.
He's obvious for me that he was phenomenal. I mean, you said Kuminga. Like, Kuminga was the top 7 pick.
I didn't think it was the play style more than anything. I didn't think he'd be this efficient.
I thought you'd mention him too, but Jalen Johnson. I think Jalen Johnson over Sharif, 19 and 10. He's been
I didn't mention Sharif. I just wanted you to mention the fact that he's
been a highlight reel, the way he dunks on people. I mean, Jalen Johnson, to me, from an athletic and potential standpoint, was probably the best power forward in the class. But because the skill set is still questionable, you're not sure who he's going to be.
Definitely going to be a tweener.
Yeah, in the NBA, I'm not sure what he's going to do, because I think through a long, gruesome season, that's where we get to see your true character. But we got to mention this guy. I mean, Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs has been exceptional. 24 points, 9 rebounds, 1 block in his first game.
Too many guys to name.
41% from the field, 50% from 3. Then this past game, his putback dunk, the way he's so acrobatic around the rim finishing. He has a nice, sweet jump shot. He said, I'm a combo guard, not a point guard, not a shooting guard. I can play both. He's shown it. And I think he might fit better as a 2 because he doesn't get much assists either. He looks to score.
Now I was looking at RJ Hampton stand next to Wagner. He's probably like 6'7".
Yeah, RJ 6'7". They got a lot of guards, man. And Jalen Suggs, to me, man, I thought he was going to be floor general Gonzaga Suggs. But what he's been showing in Summer League shows me that Gonzaga might have been holding him back.
Well, they had 9 guys.
Now, I agree with that, but Suggs, let's say he goes to Alabama or he goes to another program, he's dropping 20 and 27-7 a game, maybe like 23 a game, and he would have probably been a consensus top 3 pick. It would have been like the RJ draft with Zion and Ja. Those are the 3 guys. I think Suggs at 5 was a steal for Orlando. I mean, he's been seriously showing out. He looks different.
We'll see, man.
I'm not sure about Toronto with the Scotty pick, man. I like Scotty.
Scotty looks good, though.
I like Scotty, but when we talked about him before the draft, we said what his weaknesses were. And it's exactly what it's been so far in Summer League. I saw him.
But I saw
him shoot a layup, and it went over the basket.
Yeah, but
over the backboard.
Scotty, like we said, Toronto's the team ready to win now. I think Scotty, that was going to be the best option.
Well, Suggs is ready to win now.
We don't know that. He's performing.
So how you know that with Scotty?
Because I think his skill set is more NBA ready.
How? Suggs can defend, too.
Scotty defends way better than Suggs.
But Suggs can score way better than him, too.
Suggs doesn't need the ball in his hands. Scotty doesn't need the ball in his hands.
Suggs doesn't necessarily need the ball.
Come on, bro.
He was scoring off the ball in Summer League. He was showing out.
He was getting the ball and getting in pick and roll situations and pull up jump shots.
All I'm saying is that, I think Toronto took Scotty not because
wait a minute. Hold on. You said Toronto made the right pick. This was Toronto's pick.
No,
I
was on a Kuminga wagon. I was on a Kuminga train.
When we was on the draft live, you said this is a great pick for them. When they picked Scotty.
Because I said Toronto's looking at it through this lens. They want a guy who has the most potential. Because
so why do you think Summer League would change that?
I don't think it changes it, but I think it definitely makes them second guess it because I think Suggs is NBA ready just like Scotty. Scotty is a potential pick. We're gonna hope he becomes a great offensive player one day, and it's a potential pick, and I'm fine with that pick because their defensive lineup with Scotty is gonna be crazy. I did think Kuminga had more potential though, and I would have picked Kuminga if they picked Kuminga. I was fine with all three picks: Suggs, Scotty, Kuminga. I was fine with it, but I think each one of them brought something different. I think Suggs brought them a legitimate Lowry replacement. Scotty brought them the defensive versatility. Kuminga brought them the most potential. I would have went with Kuminga, and I said it before. I would have went with Kuminga.
Now you're switching up to saying Suggs looks like the better pick because of 2 Summer League games.
I mean, right now Suggs does look like the better player. He looks ridiculous.
He looks like he looked like the better player in college.
I know.
They're playing the college guys.
I know, but like I said, that pick was always potential for me.
We'll see in the season. Like I said,
I do like Suggs though. I'm not mad at the pick. Yeah. I'm not.
I don't want to put too much stock into Sloman because this is really just an extension of college.
Exactly. That's why I'm not too high on Sharif. It's just Summer League. Yo, man. The thing about it is that Sharif, for me, man, I hope he does well, but just pre-draft, seeing people have him as a top 10 prospect in this draft and then seeing him go to 48 was the funniest thing that's ever happened because everybody on draft Twitter is, showing Sharif highlights. Oh, man, this was a great pass. Look at this spin to a pass. And what they don't show is the tip passes where he gets his shit stuffed. They don't show none of those, but they all show, look at this excellent playmaking ability by Sharif, his manipulation in the pick and roll. All I'm saying is that I like Sharif's game, but when people started to overrate him, it got me annoyed by that.
Right.
Because I think Sharif is around like the middle of it, I think he was like a 15 to 30 pick. I think they got to steal at 48, but I didn't think he was this top 10 prospect in the draft. It was kind of crazy to me. One of the top signings that happened, or one of the only signings that's happened these past couple of days, was Dennis Schroder signing with the Boston Celtics. Signed for the mid-level exception of $5 million.
That's still some good money to me.
Which, is an outcry from the 84 he was offered by the Lakers. I think when we talk about free agency losers, I don't think it was a team. I think it was a player, and I think it was Dennis Schroder. He lost a lot of money. With that being said, all everybody is talking about is the money that he lost. Nobody is talking about how much better the Celtics got with this move. I think the Celtics got way better with this move. And I think I said this on my video that I made yesterday. Dennis Schroder fumbled the bag, but he didn't mess up a better opportunity. The Celtics are a better opportunity than the Lakers because with LA, with the Lakers, you are always under this constant microscope to succeed. If you're LeBron James' teammate, you're always under this microscope to succeed. I told you Dennis Schroder in the playoffs, he had an average series. His averages didn't drop off crazy. LeBron's averages dropped off across the board. We were here debating with Drew. Drew said it's because of his ankle. Dennis Schroder came back from COVID. You don't give him that same excuse. I wish Drew was here today because I would have told him that too. He didn't give him that excuse. He didn't say Schroder had COVID. He said Schroder's trash. When you're LeBron's teammate, if you win, you get no credit. If you lose, you get all the blame. And I don't think that's fair. Schroder isn't the shot creator Kemba is. He's also not as ball dominant as Kemba is either, even though he does need the ball in his hands. They got a 10 times better defender in Dennis Schroder. And I think now you can try to the lineup of Schroder, Smart, Brown, Tatum, Horford.
Oh, my God.
Defensively, that's one of the most versatile lineups in the entire NBA. But I'm not even sure if he'll start. Because if I'm Boston, my biggest problem last year was bench scoring. They could start Pritchard. Pritchard can be a good 3-and-D guard. Schroder can close out the games. But you start Pritchard, and now you got a given 16 to 19 a game off of Schroder off the bench with Josh Richardson, with Enes Kanter, with Robert Williams, with Nesmith. And now your bench is really good, one of the top in the league. And I think that makes much more sense for them. But either way, I think this was an amazing signing for Boston.
I'm 50-50 on it because it depends on where they want to put Schroder. First of all, you have this misconception of you and these 3-and-D point guards. It's killing me. It's really killing me. The Boston Celtics had the same problems that the Los Angeles Clippers have been crying about. They don't have a point guard so that Kawhi and PG can be put in their positions to score. That's the same. They have this. They've been praising about the same problems that those guys have. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown need a point guard. Now, I'm 50-50 on it because if Schroder is a backup point guard, I think this is an amazing signing because Schroder, I think he thrives better as the sixth man, as the guy who he just has to come in and go get a bucket. I think that's where he's played his basketball at. But if he's starting in the backcourt with Smart, you kind of get an erratic backcourt, two guys who just play kind of erratic. You don't know what you expect. Smart especially, but defensively, I think that's a great, closeout lineup, because I think Schroder guards the point guard spot really well. We know what Smart is. We know what Brown is. We know what Tatum is. And Al Horford, if he's still got anything left in the tank, he's still going to be a good defender at least. So, but I think, like I said, it really depends because, starting Pritchard's kind of small, but I think you can start him. He has a little bit of playmaking.
He has heart.
That too.
He does have heart.
Yeah, he does.
He's gonna play D.
No, he's definitely gonna play defense. They have so small guards, so it's tricky. But like I said, if Schroder's coming off the bench, this is a rental, and this is an amazing rental. He can definitely make some noise for them.
I think Pritchard, it just gives them a better floor spacer if he starts because he shoots 40% from three. Schroder's like at 34 to 36%. If I'm a defender and I see Schroder wide open, I might just box out. I might just get ready to box out. If I see Pritchard, I'm putting a rocket in my ass and I'm going. I'm closing out. I'm getting my hand up on Pritchard because he's a deadly shooter. But Schroder, I might not do that. I'll just box out.
You couldn't just say, I'm going to just close out. You got to put a rocket in your ass.
Hey, I'm speeding. I'm speeding there. I'm trying to go.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My thing is, what does it matter? Because the offense going to go through JT anyway, right? So, you want to talk about this gravity that Pritchard going to bring in. 99% of that gravity is going to JT. So I think there's no reason for me that Schroder doesn't start. And I mean, Jason Tatum, he gave us so many signs last season that even though through bench, scoring woes, he was still able to lead his team, to a solid seed with Jalen Brown out too. So I think it's solid. I don't know about if it's a better fit than, I don't know if this makes them much better. Because, like I said, we can talk about, scoring numbers for everyone. But
let me ask you a question. How much of a drop-off is Schroder to Kemba?
I don't think it is.
Yeah, I was about to say. I don't think it is either. But
what's the Celtics ceiling? Where do you think it could finish seeding-wise?
6 to 8.
Yeah.
What?
Maybe 5th.
Wow.
Fifth is a really extreme ceiling.
Oh, my gosh.
I think Bucks,
Nets.
Nets, Miami, Philly, and Atlanta, I think are all better.
Atlanta is not better than Boston.
I think they'll have a better regular season.
They're not better than Boston. I am tired of this Boston slander.
They had a better
Star power wins in the NBA. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown are two of the top 25 players. Jason Tatum, he's creeping in that top 10. Jalen Brown could be top 20. If those guys are healthy all year long, there is no way they are any less than a 6th seed. They can be the 3rd seed in the East. You said 6 to 8. Nah, there's no way they will be 8. No way. Their floor is 6.
No.
Their floor is 6. Boston, with JT and JB healthy all year, can be the 3rd best team in the East.
You got to understand, too, look at their division, too, because they got to play Philly 4 times.
They were
4 times.
Before Jalen Brown went down and they all three were
Got
playing.
COVID.
No, before whatever happened, they were seventh at that moment, struggling to keep seventh.
The entire year they were impacted by COVID.
Everybody was. Come on, bro.
Not every team was.
But I'm saying everybody had that opportunity to be impacted by COVID, bro.
All I'm saying is that.
And Jalen Brown didn't go down with COVID. He got hurt.
No. I didn't say he got COVID.
Oh.
I said the Celtics were impacted by COVID all year. Al Horford, I think, is a good center still. When you get that bench scoring with Schroder, I think that's a big upgrade. Josh Richardson, he didn't play well in Dallas, but we know he's a good player. And I think he'll be good for them off the bench. And his cancer solves their bench scoring as well, even though he's unplayable at certain times of the game. Boston, as long as JT and JB are healthy, they're, to me, the fourth or third best team in the Eastern Conference, especially with this addition of Dennis Schroder. Atlanta's not better than Boston. They are not better than Boston.
Why?
Because the Celtics got Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. That's why. That's why they're not better than
Atlanta
Boston.
got Trae Young.
Yeah, Trae Young's not better than Jason Tatum.
But he's better than Jalen Brown.
Yeah, you're right. I'll give you that.
He's better than Jalen Brown. So.
But Jason Tatum, we're forgetting that Jason Tatum right now is emerging.
So you're saying their ceiling is third? You said third
yes,
first.
It's third. We are forgetting about Jason Tatum and how great he is. He's led Boston to 2 Eastern Conference Finals appearances at his young age. He's 23 right now, I believe. He's still getting better. Jason Tatum is a superstar in the making. He's coming sooner than later. And I think this year is a year where he's going to take off and we're going to be like, he's here. Jason Tatum is here. They definitely won't be a 6th seed in the East. I think they'll be third, especially with Dennis Schroder with that bench scoring. JB taking that leap again. I think averaging 25 last year. They're going to be good.
It's funny to me because you said they dealt with COVID and they dealt with a lot of injuries. Atlanta dealt with COVID and dealt with a lot of injuries. Still ended up 5th seed. Miami dealt with injuries. They dealt with a lot of. They still ended up higher than Boston. So it's like you saying all that. Even the Nets, they had their fair share of injuries.
Philly too.
Still, Philly had a bunch of injuries. They still landed 1 and 3.
Philly with Embiid when he was hurt. They were in the 500 team.
But they still were at first. They did their damage. Atlanta.
Because when Embiid was there, they were that great when he was there. But I'll say this.
I'm saying when all 3 of them, when Boston had their 3, they weren't that great. When all 3, they weren't that great.
I'll say this. I think Boston has been longing for a change of scenery, those players. I think Brad Stevens moving into that executive role and Ime Udoka coming in as coach, they needed a breath of fresh air. And I think Udoka is that coach to do that. He's the player's coach. He's learned under some great head coaches, most notably Greg Popovich. I think he'll do great in Boston. I just believe that people right now are sleeping on superstar talent in the NBA. When we look at these teams, the reason why I'm so high on the Knicks is because we have a lot of depth. Boston doesn't have a lot of depth. If JB or JT goes down, they're gonna tumble. But when healthy, Boston is better than Miami. They are better than Atlanta. They are right there with Philly.
That's tough.
They're better than Miami?
Yeah.
How?
Yes.
How?
Yeah.
Because Jason Tatum is the best player.
He was the best. He was the best player when Miami beat them.
Jalen Brown is better than Jimmy Butler right now.
What the? What? No. So one series changed your mind?
Also, when did you just start falling in love with Jalen Brown?
I love Jalen Brown.
You did not love Jalen Brown last year.
Hating, yeah.
I was never hating on Jalen Brown. I said, if you have the opportunity to get James Harden, you ship out Jalen Brown right now.
One series has turned you into saying Jalen Brown is better than Jimmy Butler. It had to be because you didn't say that before last year.
I just believe, yeah, you're right. I just believe right now Jalen Brown is ready to take that to really solidify himself in this league.
That's interesting.
And I think Jimmy's older. He's on his way out right now in terms of outside that conversation where we rank those top echelon players in the NBA.
He still got a solid 2 years of this.
Not even his game isn't predicated on.
Let's just go lineup for lineup. Dennis Schroder versus Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry.
You think it's a big gap?
It's not a big gap, but we know who's better.
In terms of what's for the team, Kyle Lowry.
We know who's better.
Marcus Smart or Duncan Robinson?
Probably Smart.
Okay. Or Oladipo if he starts. I still think it's pretty even. Jalen Brown or Jimmy Butler?
Jimmy Butler.
You see. Jason Tatum or PJ Tucker?
Jason Tatum.
And then
Bam.
Al Horford and Bam.
Bam.
I do think Al Horford can do a good job on him, though.
But Bam is better. Yeah. Don't try to play that because Jimmy Butler can obviously do a good job on Brown.
I think it's an evenly matched team, though. I don't think.
Okay, it's fair to say,
But I just think the star power Boston has puts them over. Because I just think Tatum's the best player between those two.
You could have said that when they played in the bubble. They had this. You could have said that star power. I picked Boston to win because of the star power. And they lost
7 games, right, or 6? I think it was 6.
6.
You also, time and time again on this show, reiterated the fact that Kemba Walker didn't show up.
But I also, and don't get me wrong, I've reiterated the fact that star power wins out. But I think we're forgetting that Kyle, Bam, and Jimmy are stars. That's 3 stars, whether they're low end or high end. Bam is, just like you say, Jason Tatum is emerging and Brown is on his way. Bam is also on his way. Butler's
they're
here.
Stars, but Tatum is superstar.
Tatum is a superstar, but I think Jimmy, Bam, and Kyle Lowry are all stars. Jimmy is probably, if people want to say Brown is better, okay, but they're right there. I think Jimmy's a little bit ahead of him, but they're right there. And Bam is right under them on his way, which is, you can't say the same about anybody on Boston. And the same thing with Kyle Lowry. Nobody's even on Kyle Lowry's level.
I think they're an evenly matched team. When we talk about Atlanta, I think Boston is better than Atlanta.
That's a fair thing to say.
What about their bench, though?
Atlanta's deeper than Boston.
Kevin Huerter off the bench. Right?
Atlanta's deeper than Boston.
But if Dennis Schroder comes off the bench, whose bench is better, Atlanta or Boston's?
Still, because I think Atlanta, outside of Schroder, you still got Lou Will, you still got Onyeka, you still got
you got Enes Kanter.
Yeah, that's true.
Got Josh Richardson.
I'm not. We gotta wait and see on that. We gotta wait and see on that.
I agree, but Josh Richardson, I think, is just as good as a player as Kevin Huerter.
In the playoffs?
Well,
yeah, like that's what I said. That's a wait and see moment right there. But I think Atlanta's a little bit deeper than.
Well, Kevin Huerter had one playoff run, right? I mean, I think with the Atlanta Hawks right now, this is not me hating.
This is a wait and see.
I know people think this is me hating. We saw the Atlanta Hawks have one playoff run. All of their young players played exceptional. Bogdanovich played bad. He didn't play too well as it progressed. But all of their young players played exceptional. Trae Young was historical. Kevin Huerter was awesome. DeAndre Hunter, when he played, was good. John Collins was 14-10. Nothing to rave about. Right. Everybody played well. We saw before with Miami in that bubble run, another young player played really well, Tyler Hero. And then in this playoffs, he didn't play well. We have to wait and see. One playoff run does not mean that in every single series you're going to play well, because we know in the playoffs especially things fluctuate. You can be bad and you can be good. It fluctuates.
The same way how you said Tyler Hero did that, you could also say Boston, we didn't know they were going to play that well, and then they did it again. So this can happen with Atlanta. They can do this again the same way Boston did, or they can flop the way Miami did.
I'm just going to, historically, let's look at this. Young teams that have made runs in the playoffs, the next year have dropped off. 2018 in Boston, they faced the Cavs. They lost in 7. Rookie Tatum led them to ECF. Very next year, lost in the second round to the Bucks. Tatum didn't play well. Everybody dropped off. OKC with their big 3 when they made the finals, and they lost to the Heat. Never made the finals again. Most of it was due to Harden getting traded, but they never made it again.
They made the WCF repeatedly, though.
Yeah, but always injuries were nagging, and they never made the finals again. Indiana with PG. He was
ECF.
rising superstar, never got to quite that level again. All I'm saying is that when these young teams make a run, usually it's that one burst, that one shining moment, and then we don't hear about them.
Here's the difference.
Boston is still trying to reach that again.
Here's the difference. When Boston made that run in 2018, their 2 best players didn't play. The 2 best players came back, and the continuity was ruined. Atlanta, when they walked into the playoffs, those are their guys that they're going to walk in with these same year. Like you said, OKC 2013 or 2012, went to the finals. Harden's gone. The same team isn't there. Indiana, back-to-back ECFs. Paul George never got back to that level, but also that team completely changed.
I agree with you, Rib, but this is the thing. The East at that time did not get better the way that it got better this year.
That's a fair point.
Miami got better. The Knicks got better. Say what you want, but the Knicks got better.
No, I think the Knicks got better.
Boston with Schroeder and the additions of Josh Richardson and Kanter, they got better.
Trying to praise this Josh Richardson guy.
No, because Josh Richardson is not a bad player. They got better. The Nets, they're extending KD, Harden, and Kyrie. They're going to be here for a while. Let's not forget that. Yeah. Milwaukee coming off a championship. Philly, depending on where Simmons goes.
Atlanta beat Philly. Not worried about Philly.
Come on.
They beat Philly.
You are worried about Philly.
They're not worried about it. They're not worried about Philly.
And then what other Indiana getting healthy? They got better. Last year everybody Warren had a season
better than Atlanta?
No.
Okay.
Chicago, they got better. Yeah. But Indiana, the entire season, T.J. Warren was out. That was the bubble star. He was a superstar in the bubble.
And that's it.
Almost every team in the East got better. Charlotte, they got better. I'm just saying, like, Atlanta didn't make any moves this offseason for you to be like, okay, they got better. You can say that they're going to have more continuity next season, but in terms of talent, they did not get better.
I think they're getting better is just growing, their young players growing. With Boston,
but you need stars to win.
But with Boston, you can say they got better, but we don't know until, because these are, as of right now, damaged pieces that are coming from teams that didn't want them anymore. Dennis Schroder was on the market and nobody wanted him. Josh Richardson barely played in the playoffs.
But I told you about Schroder. In a regular season, he averaged 15, 4, and 6.
No, I get it. But
his
stock dropped because
stock did drop.
So it's like these are damaged goods that are trying to be revived.
But
back in Boston.
Is it that, or because I think most of the times when these contract things happen, we tend to blame the players all the time.
Well, he was asking for too much money.
No, yeah, I understand you, but could it be this? Could it be that some of these teams wanted Schroder? Washington wanted Schroder, but they settled for Dinwiddie because Schroder said, you know what? I kind of still want to bet on myself. And I think betting on myself is going to a team that can win and I can help win. The reason I think he chose Boston was because if we go on a run next year, I'm going to get paid. He's betting on himself again. It might flop again, but he's betting on himself. And I think it's going to sound crazy, but Dennis Schroder is motivated. He's determined. He sees the backlash on social media. He posted on his Instagram story that keep that same energy, people. He has a chip on his shoulder. And I think a motivated athlete, sometimes the best comes out. And the way Schroder has played throughout his career, he's always played with that chip on his shoulder, with that assertiveness. And I think this is just going to help him even more.
I mean, that's cute and all, but he's not.
Huh?
Like, that's cute, but they're not getting past, like...
They're not... I think the Nets are winning the championship if they're healthy.
Well, my thing is, like, you said, oh, I want to help a team win.
But Boston could definitely make an ECF run.
If everything plays... If everything plays right, yeah.
Yeah, we got to stop sleeping on Boston, because I think Boston... Because they've had a down year, everybody's kind of ruling them out.
No, whoa.
I'm not saying you, but I'm saying the consensus is that... I mean, people have Chicago over Boston.
Never did. I didn't do that.
People are sleeping on what Boston's going to be. I think, they're all coming back, and Tatum, after that gold medal too, he had a good time in the Olympics. He was showing out. Everybody's coming back better. But social media is weird, man, because I was looking at the Dennis Schroder memes, and I went on his Instagram account. He disabled his comments on his Instagram. I would have done the same thing because people troll all the time. He posted an IG story with his brother in it. And he tagged his brother. People are commenting on his brother's Instagram about Schroder. Like people are talking shit about Schroder on his brother's IG account because they can't do it on his IG account. People are weird, man. Internet is weird, bro.
I mean, I have Boston as a playoff lock.
I mean, me too.
It's going to be tough. It's because, like you said, the same thing how you said every team got better for Atlanta. That's the same thing for Boston. Every team did, in fact, get better in the East, so it's going to be a tough team. Like you said, with Boston, the only problem is one injury could put them down. If JB or JT go down, it could be wraps for them. They can fall deep in the standings. That's why I think they're going to be very JT, JB reliant. They're going to rely on them heavily this year. They're going to need to, I think.
And I think they can handle that.
They can, but, one injury can completely kill their season. That's why I think depth is very important. You've seen it with Atlanta. That depth was very important. You could just plug in other guys in and it'll be okay. You've seen it with the Clippers. Depth is important. So it's Boston getting Schroder. Like I said, it can be a good thing or it can be a disaster. And they still thinking about, and Brad Stevens talked about he want to trade Smart too, so we don't know what's going on with that. I think that'd be a terrible idea. But
they also offered him a contract extension.
Yeah, so it's like it's a weird thing in Boston, but I definitely still have him as a lock, no doubt. But fourth, third, I don't know about third.
I'm telling you, man, I think Tatum's on the rise.
I think Miami right now it's better, not gap, but I think they're clearly a better team. They have more depth. Yeah, I think they're a clearly better team right now. And I think with Miami, they beat you with their depth. They don't beat you.
But also Oladipo not being ready for the start, that could hurt them too. If they don't have that depth.
Yeah.
Hero and Dedmon off the bench doesn't sound very inspiring. Doesn't sound very inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get in the playoffs. They'll figure that out. Oladipo will be back by the playoffs at least. So
news about the Dallas Mavericks came out the Dallas Mavericks' new head coach Jason Kidd came out. There's this new book about Giannis, about it's a biography on him, and in this book there are some alarming Jason Kidd stories in it. Somebody tweeted this, and these were the stories. This is quote for quote, by the way. The Bucks were struggling, dropping a game to Charlotte on December 23rd, right before Christmas. Players returned to the locker room dejected, silent. Everyone was ready for the next 2 days off with their families. Zaza, Kidd said, turning to Pachulia but addressing the entire team. Do you think it was a winnable game? Kidd asked Zaza. Yes, it was a winnable game, Pachulia said. And do you think we deserve the next 2 days off, which means Christmas Eve and Christmas? And Pachulia basically said, listen, we made plans with our families. You know, we kind of do one off. And Kidd was like, all right, Dudley, what do you think? And Dudley answered basically the same way. And Jason Kidd didn't care. He said, see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. on Christmas Eve. And all the players are like, whoa, what's happening? What do you mean? And Kidd's like, we're going to have practice. And the players are like, but we booked flights to different states already. And Kidd said, I don't care. You guys get paid to do a job, so you're doing your job tomorrow. Things change. And the practice the very next morning, Christmas Eve, was terrible. He went to Larry Sanders and called him pathetic. He called him a terrible player. He called him a piece of shit. And the team ran the entire practice like a college team. And Brandon Knight said, I haven't done that ever in my career. It was the first time with Jason Kidd. And he said it wasn't normal. And after this practice, in the middle of it, Larry Sanders, after like 3 hours of practice, because that's how long it lasted, he kept picking on Larry Sanders. He called him pathetic. And Larry Sanders took his stuff and left the facility. And that was his last game with the Bucks. And that was his last time showing up for anything they did. He basically retired after that incident with Jason Kidd. And he said physically he couldn't take it. Mentally, he couldn't take it. He does say he doesn't think Jason Kidd is a bad person, but mentally he did mess him up because one day Jason Kidd would be all coddly and the next day he would be this militant enforcer. And because of that, it didn't bode well for Larry Sanders. And then there was another incident about a film room with Giannis. They were playing Philly. Kidd said, look, Giannis, you made a mistake. Giannis said, no, I didn't. Kidd said, show me. Giannis proved him wrong on the film. And Jason Kidd still sat him in the entire second half of a game just to prove that he's boss. And some other some other players have described Kidd as a coaching style as psychological warfare.
Sounds like it.
And basically, you know, they don't have very nice things to say. And there was this other story about Thon Maker and how this is quote for quote. Little things were made to be a big deal like 2 seasons later when center Thon Maker didn't have an iPhone, messing up the blue bubble iPhone group chat, and therefore once showed up late for practice because he had missed a text about a time change. Kidd was upset about it and made the team run because Kidd felt that Maker not getting an iPhone was an example of the team not being unified. So he picked on Maker because of his phone. And, I mean, you look at his track record as a coach. Didn't have much success in Milwaukee. Say what you want. You know, he's credited for developing Giannis, but this kind of discredits it because he messed up a lot of players too. Larry Sanders made him retire, basically. Thon Maker was a highly touted prospect. You saw how he treated him. He didn't develop him because he had a green bubble on his phone.
Why did he still have a Galaxy?
I don't know. And then on Brooklyn, he got DUI charges on Brooklyn as a head coach, driving under the influence. And in 2001, he pled guilty to beating his wife, basically. I mean, this guy doesn't have a very great past.
He's not going to talk to Luka like that.
And now he's the head coach for the Mavericks. Oh, yeah. I worry about it because I think Kristaps Porzingis' personality isn't going to take this.
Luka not hearing that either. All that hoopla. My thing is, you know what my question is, honestly? What were the assistant coaches doing throughout this whole situation? Like, what was their vibe?
But my thing, to go off of that, if he's not that scared to talk about the players, I don't think he gives a fuck about what the assistant coaches got to say. Like
He hires
for
the
real.
assistants too.
That's it.
So they're
yeah.
probably on the same type of training he is, or at least they just.
either that or they're scared to do something about it because that man.
And then, which goes to my point, why wasn't he fired earlier? What's
He's
like,
Jason Kidd.
like I guess his player, the name Jason Kidd as a player holds so much weight because it's like, and I'm sure Mark Cuban knew about all this before.
He should have.
Yeah, or now at least now he knows, which is going to lead up to this season. Now I don't think he's going to get fired, but this is definitely going to be something that Mark Cuban's going to definitely pay close attention to. But yeah, psychological warfare. I feel like that's something Greg Popovich does in a more nicer way, though. I think that's like a Greg Popovich thing, but clearly it's not what Jason Kidd. I think this is just bullying. Bullying players. Players with. I guess Larry Sanders has some type of depression, or he was just. He was kind of had a sad day. Jason Kidd seems very bipolar to me. Talking about one day he's calling, then the next day he's mean. But I think, honestly, you got to look at the people around Jason Kidd. His coaches, his assistant coaches, his family, the GMs at the time. Like, what were you thinking? And I'm sure you can't tell me grown men haven't talked to the GMs about this one time through the whole process. I'm sure they have. I'm sure they spoke to the assistants about this, and nobody did. He coached for what, like 3-4 seasons?
3 seasons, I believe.
Yeah, so it's like you knew this was going on for a long time. Players spoke on about it, and you guys kind of let it happen. So I think this is kind of a testament to kind of like, people take their job way too seriously, regardless if you're getting paid millions or not. These are still people's feelings. These are still grown men who still, you can't talk to people like that.
In defense of Jason Kidd a bit, Jared Dudley came out recently and said that he laid the groundwork for the Bucs championship.
I'm not surprised, yeah.
So Jared Dudley didn't bash him and say all this stuff, but I think it is alarming because
they do that for Brandon Jennings too. He laid the groundwork.
I don't think that the personalities on the Mavericks, specifically Luka and KP, they're going to take that. And I don't think they really should. It might be less of a problem in Dallas because the Bucs had young players that Kidd had to groom and develop, and he failed a lot at that. In Dallas, most of these players are established. You can't really tell them nothing. I mean, Bullock, Finney Smith, Brunson,
But these are some dogs.
Luka, Porzingis.
You're going to be able to talk to them any kind of way.
Maxi Kleba. Most of their players they know what they are. They know their roles. They have found their footing in the NBA. It might affect Josh Green or Tyrell Terry.
But even then, a situation where he was in the room with Giannis telling him he made a mistake, I don't think that's grooming a player. That's just you trying to show your assertiveness. He can do that to anybody. I feel like that's a Porzingis moment right there. Like telling Porzingis, yo, you did something wrong. And then Porzingis like, what? No, I did it. And then that can end up like that. And, that's Kid.
Do you think Dallas is going to regret this hire?
Nah, because you know what? Here's my thing with it. Now that this has been made like public, I feel like now he kind of understands like I can't like let it slide. I'm not saying he's going to stop cold turkey. Like he might let a few comments slip out, but like attacking one player over and over, I feel like this story coming out is going to replay in his head, and it's going to like he's going to be able to stop himself.
That and they have Luka. So
it definitely, because in Milwaukee when Larry Sanders retired and he left,
he was really good too.
I mean, at the time when that happened, I was wondering what was wrong with him. Like, what happened that made him do that? Years later, we finally find out the truth. Like, we finally know what happened. Whereas if something goes on in Dallas, I think we're going to find out right away.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to take years to find this out. I think right away we're going to find this out.
Because that's the outlet already.
And Dallas,
Exactly.
Dallas is a bigger market than Milwaukee was at the time.
You know what else, too, is, I think Dallas made a mistake, though, by not hiring Jamal Mosley. I think he should have been their coach. Dallas vouched for him as well. But they're going from one extreme to the other. Rick Carlisle, he left Dallas because Luka had total control. And it was whatever Luka wants, you get. Rick Carlisle kind of stopped coaching and said, look, just Luka everything. Where Jason Kidd is coming in and has that militant coaching style and is more of, I don't care about that. It's going to be what I want now. So they're going from one extreme, let Luka do whatever he wants, to another one, and
this could
now we're going to
help
hold Luka in
Porzingis.
check.
This could help Porzingis in a way. If Jason wants Porzingis to get the ball more, it could put Porzingis in a good light, help him get more touches, and not be the spot-up shooter he was last year.
That makes sense. That makes some sense.
Yeah,
or he could piss Porzingis off.
100%.
Yeah, because Porzingis has a fragile personality, I think. So
I think New York did that to him.
I think he did that to himself. Yeah, because when he left New York, he said, Knicks fans, the truth is gonna come out sooner or later. He left, and we were better without you.
Were you?
Yes. We definitely were better without Porzingis.
You guys have the same amount of playoff exits.
Well,
No, actually, you have same. You've both made the first
we
round.
didn't make the playoffs with Porzingis.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying, but he made it with Dallas twice.
But
you guys
the
made
Knicks
it
are
once.
better without Porzingis. With Porzingis, we weren't this good.
Yes, that is fair.
We didn't have one playoff season with Porzingis.
What, you got one now?
Yeah. With Randall, I told you Randall was better than Porzingis, man.
Porzingis got two of them things.
But yeah, I think, they might regret this hire. I think they probably are sooner rather than later.
I mean, we'll see, because it's gonna be in the media sooner. Rather, it's gonna be in the media quick, fast. We're gonna know in a hurry. Circulation have already been going on in that organization with Luka in the front office and guys getting fired. This, that, and the third. Donnie Nelson getting fired. That was Luka's guy. Luka wanted Mosley. He didn't get hired. Kid guy. So it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a lot of turmoil for Dallas this year.
Last episode, we talked about Ben Simmons and how he's not returning the 76ers calls. And the 76ers, there was a report that came out about them that said they are monitoring the Dame situation. They are waiting for him to request a trade, and they hope that he does request a trade as soon as he comes back. I think he's back by now. He hasn't done it
Where was
yet.
he? Oh, he was
in the Olympics. First question, do you think they have the assets to trade for Dame? And does he make them title contenders if they do, in fact, get Dame in town?
Oh, I think they do have the assets. I think Ben Simmons is still an asset. I think it's one asset that, looking at the teams, he already established he's not going to L.A. He put out a tweet saying, I'm willing to bet however much it was that he's not going to the Lakers. I don't think the Clippers have any assets. I think Miami's done. They don't have any assets. So I think the only teams are Golden State and Philly. And I don't think Golden State, they've come out and said they're going to grow with these young guys. They're going to play. Steph Curry and Draymond have come out and said they like these young guys, so I don't think they're going to trade. So that leaves Philly. The last real spot, or Boston, but Boston doesn't have better assets. I think Ben Simmons is the glaring aspect. You could throw in a Tyrese Maxey too. But I think depending on what they give up, which I'm assuming is probably Simmons, Maxey, and if they can keep Thibault, or Springer, if they can throw those two guys and Ben Simmons, they keep Thibault, you bring in Dame. You got a lineup of Dame, Thibault, Tobias. No, Dame, Seth, Thibault.
Green.
Oh my God, he came back, right? Dame Green. Woo, Dame Green, Tobias, Thibault, Tobias, Joel Embiid. I think that puts him right there. I think that puts him right next to Philly and right under Brooklyn. I think Dame is just that dangerous.
Milwaukee.
Yo, I'm fucking up. Put them right next to Philly. Oh my God, did it again. Right next to Milwaukee and right behind Brooklyn. I think Dame and Embiid, two MVP caliber players. Dame is a dangerous threat. I think having a big man like that and the co-talent he's never had like that would be incredible, and that would definitely put him square in a way at the top of the East right there with Milwaukee.
Nah, straight up. I really think. As if Philly wasn't already like a championship contender last season until Ben just fell off in the playoffs. Now you get Dame.
You got lost for words.
Nah, I'm trying to see like where I'd put them.
You put them over
obvious top
Milwaukee?
three. I just might. I might just put them number 2 in the East. They're not beating Brooklyn, obviously, but
I don't say obvious.
well, not.
Would Embiid? I don't know, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna. If they played, obviously, I would put my money on Brooklyn, but I wouldn't be surprised because they have Embiid, who's gonna dominate Brooklyn down low. I think Dame and Kyrie, they're gonna match each other. So it's just really, and they have Thibault. They have a defender, Danny Green. He's not a elite defender, but he's annoying. He's pesky, like you say. So pesky's annoying. So they have guys. So I think they would make that series a really, really competitive series. I don't think they beat them though. I have Brooklyn, but I think they could beat Milwaukee though.
I think Philly probably would be the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I think I would put them above Milwaukee. I would love for this trade to happen.
Me too.
For one, I think for Ben Simmons, get him in a new scene.
That would suck for
in
us.
Portland.
We would never see our teams win.
Get him in Portland. I think a new scenery would be good. And I've done a rebuild already with Ben Simmons in Portland. I won a championship with them as well. Simmons was ours.
But you had the number 1 pick?
Nah, Simmons averaged like 24, 10, and 8.
Who's his backmate? Who's his mate?
I had a CJ.
Oh, you kept CJ?
I traded for Miles Turner, so I just had a 5-out lineup.
How'd you get Miles?
I traded Nurkic.
And some picks?
Yeah. I had a 5-out lineup, and, Simmons just went crazy with that.
He's a 2K god.
Yeah, he went crazy. He was averaging like 24, 10, and 10. He was going crazy. The reason why I like Dame in Philly is because in Portland, CJ McCollum, no disrespect, he's an amazing player. He just got named the NBPA president. Shout out to him. But McCollum and Dame's game didn't mesh well. They had success, but it's my turn, then it's your turn. If he's in Philly, Dame, for the first time in his career, has another elite player that complements his game, and he complements Joel Embiid's game. Off the pick and roll, pick and pop. That's a deadly combination. Dame has never had that. The closest thing to it was Nurkic. Aldridge for 1 year when Dame wasn't even who he was. The closest thing to that was Nurkic, and when Nurkic was healthy, when they first got him from Denver, he was averaging 16 and 10. Now imagine with an Embiid who is an MVP caliber player, could have won the MVP if he stayed healthy last season. This would be an amazing, amazing team. They have the defenders in Green and Thibault. Maybe Springer stays if he's not involved in that trade. This is a deep team, man. Like, I think the starting lineup, if I want to go all offense, I would say Dame, Curry, Green, Tobias, and Embiid.
And then after
depends.
What you just seen in Portland?
It depends, because I think Curry
Seth brings that punch off the bench, though.
That's true, but he's also one of their best players. Even, I think Tobias and him, especially in the playoffs, it wasn't far off. Then off the bench, Korkmaz, Thibault. They got Drummond. I know Drummond isn't this crazy player.
If he understands his role, he'll be fine.
He'll definitely understand that he's behind Embiid. Yeah. Embiid will make him understand.
He better.
And then they also signed George Niang, who's a good three-point shooter. And they got, Springer, Maxey, Milton. Depending on who goes to,
I think,
Portland.
those two probably have to go.
I think this is one of the most deepest teams in the NBA. And based off of Dame's track records in the playoffs, he might mask some of those Doc Rivers inefficiencies in the playoffs and lack of adjustments.
Yeah, I think if CJ was more like, because Dame is very similar to Steph, so I think if CJ was more like a Clay, they would be, a better suited backcourt. Somebody, Steph masks Clay's, creation and, his ability to, create his own shot consistently, and Clay obviously masks Steph's defense, so it's like they complement themselves so well. I think if CJ was that, it would kind of work better in Portland. Like you said, it was always a your turn, my turn thing. Even with John Wall and Bradley Beal, you saw it was in the East. They played LeBron, but you saw a little bit of success because John Wall was a playmaker and Beal was kind of an on-ball, off-ball type of guard. So it's, CJ wasn't that good player though, but he just was never that. So
I think, this is huge because Dame got like probably the most gravity on the 3-point line next to Steph and all of them. So that also opens it up for Joel Embiid down low. So, just looking at it broadly, that's also it. But in terms of Ben, like, I know all the memes can come out. We can say whatever we want about Ben Simmons. People forget that he's always top 2, top 3 in assists every single year. So I feel like a trade to Golden State would be like the best option, where you could just get him out to, Klay Thompson standing in the corner, Steph Curry coming off a screen, top of the key or whatever. Even Draymond can. Do we trust
a Ben and Draymond lineup?
The Warriors are on that right now. They're
thinking about
it.
Right
now. That's what's conflicting between getting Simmons is that, we don't know how Draymond and Ben are going to work. That's why we're not sure if we want to get
two
Ben.
guys that won't shoot.
Yeah, and Draymond has really fallen off in terms of just trying to score.
And that would mean Ben would play the 5. I don't think you're going to bench. Well, Wiggins is probably gone anyways, but Ben would probably play the 5.
If I'm going to sit, I'm fine with where I'm at.
I agree. I think you already have a Ben Simmons. Let's be realistic, a better Ben Simmons at this point right now in Draymond Green. So why go get another one who's just going to clog up the paint, create no spacing? I don't think it makes sense. You already have your team.
Toronto, there were rumors about them shopping Pascal Siakam. And some people thought that on draft night when they drafted Scotty Barnes, that was Siakam's replacement. I don't believe that because I think Scotty Barnes, they drafted him because they want him to be the point guard. That's why they drafted him, and I think he could fill that role somewhat. But the 3 teams that are rumored to be enamored with Pascal are the Sacramento Kings, the Golden State Warriors, and the LA Clippers. Out of these three teams, which team do you think is the most realistic, and which team do you think he would fit on the best?
Well, if he goes to the Kings, he's done. Like, his career is certified over. I hope he doesn't go there. He's a good player. I think probably Golden State would probably offer him the best. They probably have the best offers, and they probably offer him the best success, considering the fact that Kawhi is going to miss some time next year. So it's just going to kind of be the PG Siakam show, and I think they're going to lose a lot of their depth if they try to get Siakam. With Golden State, though, they still can keep their core and go out and get Siakam, and I think Siakam will kind of thrive off Steph and Clay. But I honestly think he should stay in Toronto. I think that OG, Scotty, Siakam wing tandem is ridiculous defensively and offensively. I think it can grow. OG's still young. Siakam he's not old. He's about 26, 27 years old, so he's nearing the start of his prime. Scotty just got there. I think this team has room to grow, and I think Siakam has found a home in Toronto. So I think honestly the best spot is Toronto because low-key, low maintenance, fits more his style. He doesn't have to go there and beat the guy. They have a bunch of guys that, kind of share the offensive load, and he doesn't have to go out there and be a star. He has to have to be hammered with the spotlight. Because we've seen it. Toronto, he became the number one guy after Kawhi left, and it kind of, put him in a bad spot. I wouldn't say he had a bad year, but he had some really bad moments, especially in the fourth quarter. I think right now in Toronto, he doesn't have to be that. He could just be this low-maintenance all-star and continue to improve his game quietly.
Yeah, I agree with Riv. Sacramento should just be off the table. I don't even know why they're trying.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm actually I think they have a pretty good package.
They probably do, but it's like for
I'm
Siakam though.
Yeah, I'm thinking in terms of like Pascal, for him. So definitely either Golden State or Clippers. I really don't know because, if Pascal wants to take I don't even know because if they bring Pascal over and then you can wait it out for the playoffs, just secure a spot in the playoffs, have Kawhi come back. I feel like that makes. I don't even know.
Siakam, PG, and Kawhi sounds like a championship.
That's what I'm saying.
They sound better than the Lakers.
Yeah.
They do. They sound better than Golden State too.
Yeah.
It sounds better.
Okay. So what would sound better? Steph, Clay, Pascal, or Kawhi, PG, Pascal?
Don't ever forget Draymond.
And Draymond.
Warriors, but I'm saying strictly Warriors don't get Pascal, Steph, Clay, Dre versus PG, Kawhi, Pascal. I think they win that matchup, the Clippers. These are the trades I
think it'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Wiggins
so
can guard
I
Siakam.
have this take, right? I believe that if the Raptors are not in that playoff picture by mid-year, they're going to shop Siakam. I think they're going to go into a full rebuild, and they're going to, build with Scotty and Gary and all their young players, which is why I think the Kings have the best offer, because the Kings can say, look, we can give you Buddy Hield. I don't think that would make much sense because he is similar to Gary Trent, but they could say, all right, you guys need a center. You can take Marvin Bagley, who wasn't very successful with us but can have success with you. Very highly touted prospect. Maybe you want a point guard. Maybe you want to move off for Fred too. We give you Halliburton. And now the Kings can have, Hield, De'Aaron Fox, Pascal. Pascal is now that secondary scorer on Sacramento. The Kings have some guys, right? Hield, Bagley, Holmes,
Why not keep
Halliburton.
Hallie, give him Mitchell?
I don't think Mitchell, he's 23. I think that's where they kind of go off from that. But also, Harrison Barnes is making money. So Harrison Barnes could be that trade chip that makes the trade all work. Here's a trade that actually works for the Clippers, actually. Marcus Morris and Luke Kennard. Those contracts work.
If you're just giving up that, hell yeah.
Those contracts work for Siakam. Is that too low? Absolutely. Right now, what do the Raptors lack? They lack a center. This trade, I think, makes the most sense. Keon Johnson, getting a young player back. Marcus Morris.
That would hurt my heart.
Zubats, and Daniel Lautaro. You get a center in Zubats, who's a good defender. You get Marcus Morris, who's a scorer. and then you get Keon Johnson, a young player who is ascending, and maybe a pick. And I think that probably could do it for Siakam.
And then you roll out a lineup of Reggie?
You have Reggie,
PG.
Paul George, Kawhi, Siakam, Ibaka still. That's very good. And Toronto would have Fred, Gary, OG, Scotty now is at the 4, Zubac at the 5, then off the bench, Malachi, Marcus Morris, Keon Johnson, Boucher, Precious. It's not too bad. And if they get a lot of picks off that can also.
Well, the Clippers, I don't even think they got any picks. They got a bunch of second rounders.
I don't think you can trade first round picks in back-to-back years. But
they can't
last
trade
year they
those.
didn't trade a first round pick, did they?
But I think they traded all of them for whatever they traded for Paul George. So I think
that's true. That's gonna haunt them. But I think Clippers make the most sense in terms of a trade, and I think that's a really good team.
That is.
They also have Pat Bev off the bench.
Then you can stay afloat until Kawhi comes back. Wow, Clippers sound more and more intriguing for me now that you brought up that trade, because they do have a lot of big contracts. Marcus Morris, Luke Kennard, Pat Bev, obviously. Zubac has, I think, about 8-10 mil. So, yeah, good job.
I mean, that second trade does work. I checked it.
Good job.
In the trade machine.
Good job. Wait, 4 players?
No,
4 players for one checks in?
Yeah, cap space wise, it fits.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they need to sign players to get their roster back up?
Maybe, unless they have 2-way players and they just bring them up.
That makes sense.
But the Clippers with Reggie, Kawhi, PG, Siakam, Ibaka off the bench.
Wait, okay, so where do you have the Clippers?
You have Terrence Mann. Maybe Terrence Mann could be a trade chip.
Oh, they're not. Where do you have the Clippers right now?
Healthy?
No, Kawhi's out right now. Where do you have them?
Honestly, they could be a playing team.
So
West is that tough.
So if they get Siakam, where does it put them?
5th seed.
And then Kawhi.
It jumps them up all the way to 2-1.
Yeah, I'm putting them. That team fully healthy with Pascal is 2 or 1.
Makes sense. Okay.
That's a great team. There was a video that went viral about Isaiah Thomas because he dropped 81 in the Pro-Am game, and he got emotional after it and started crying and said that, teams gave up on me, the NBA gave up on me. And do you think he deserves another shot at the NBA? What is your opinion on this?
No.
What? You don't think so?
No, for what?
You're crazy.
He's a 5'9" guard that can't play defense, not because it's probably because he can't, because his size enables him to, that he constantly needs the ball in his hands to be effective at any part of the game. I'm sorry. There's just no need, especially when the game is gearing towards big guards. There's really not a necessary need. There's guys like Lou Will are starting to fade away, and he's a small guard. So it's there's really not a need, not to say Isaiah Thomas isn't a good player. I think he probably still is a good player, but you know what I'm saying? I don't see, especially, is he even fully healthy? I know the hip injury put him in a bad
Well, for one, guys like Lou Will are fading away. He's 34 years old and still contributing to a playoff team. He is not fading away. He's still doing what he does. That's for one. I'll say this. Isaiah Thomas definitely deserves a shot at the NBA again. He went on All the Smoke podcast and said his hip injury is fine. Obviously, it's fine. In the Drew League, his debut, 37 points. In the AEBL, 65 points a record. And in Jamal Crawford's crossover league,
he's still killing
81 points record.
So
he's been balling, and I think he's fully healthy now. There is no way that Isaiah Thomas shouldn't be on an NBA roster.
What roster?
Well, Chicago. He's better than Caruso.
He's not better than Kobe White.
He's not better than Caruso. He's better than what? Yeah. You don't think Isaiah Thomas is better than Alex Caruso?
No.
What?
No. For a fit, wow, you want to plug out a backcourt of Isaiah Thomas and Kobe White and say go play ball? Stop, bro. You're not making sense. Fit wise, it makes sense wise when you speak.
Alex Caruso is trash,
bro.
Not on defense though.
On defense, he's okay. Alex Caruso was never ever the caliber of player Isaiah Thomas was.
Yeah, but
Isaiah Thomas in Washington injured was giving you 12-4.
Like I said, think fit wise and make sense wise. It
I just
wouldn't
care
make
about
sense.
my better player, man. Who's a better player?
No, it's not always about a better player.
Who's a better player?
It's not always about a better player, though.
I think Isaiah Thomas definitely deserves a shot in the NBA. He could go to L.A. He could thrive there.
They would have got him.
With the Lakers. They're thinking about it right now.
Well, he's got to go to a team and he's also got to learn that he's going to be coming off the bench. And the sole purpose of him coming off the bench is for, like, short scoring, like, stints. Like, maybe
he could do that.
I mean, because he's doing it against some people in a summer league, bro.
He's an NBA player. Any NBA player is going to do that.
Exactly.
These are records, bro. Nobody's done it, obviously. These are records.
I mean,
that's true.
These are records. Nobody's done
I wonder why he's not in the league.
Well, because of his hip injury. Boston did him dirty. Boston didn't tell.
We're not about to go back to 4 years ago.
Boston didn't tell Isaiah Thomas the severity of that hip injury. Because of that, Isaiah Thomas played. Isaiah Thomas gave his heart and soul to the city of Boston, and they screwed him over. That's exactly why Anthony Davis's pop said, "I don't want my son going to Boston. Look how they treat their players." You know, Isaiah Thomas gave his heart and soul to that city. 29 points per game. That same 5'9" guy you're talking about scored 29 points per game and was in the MVP conversation all year.
But he was also how he's 32 right now. That happened.
Probably he's like 27, 28.
Exactly. That's a prime, bro.
That happened when he was like 29.
I said 28.
No,
well, prime is like 28 to 32.
Yeah, when you're athletic or when you have actual skill or when you're not 5'9".
Wait, hold on.
32
Isaiah
right
Thomas
now.
doesn't have actual skill.
No, he has somewhat of a skill, but he's
No.
freaking 9.
It's
bro.
not he has somewhat of a skill. For him to make the NBA at 5'9" and to score 29 points per game in the NBA, he has amazing skill.
We're talking about right now.
Skill wise, he has amazing skill.
Okay, but we're talking about right now. Why is he not in the NBA right now?
But you say because of the hip injury, it derailed his career a lot.
Okay, but he's healthy now. And he's admitted he's healthy. All the smoke has a lot of fans.
And he needs a shot. He's gonna get his shot.
He's not gonna get his shot.
And he's gonna show out.
What team do you think would be the perfect fit?
What team needs him?
Let me go through some teams right now, man.
Because honestly, there's no team that's like in a position to win now that will need him. There's no team.
LA's team is set. They're not thinking about IT.
Who's your backup point guard? Oh, none in Monk. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Bucks. You know, he's better than George Hill.
Is he?
Yes, he is better than George Hill. Yes, he is better.
Would it matter? Is he? Like,
yeah, he's better than George Hill.
George Hill's like one of the best 3-point shooters in the league.
I think Miami, they could get some scoring off the bench. Their bench is not very inspiring right now. Oladipo's going to be out.
You think IT's going to inspire that?
Yes, IT can get 15 for you off the bench.
He doesn't even fit the Miami culture.
He could do it. He could do it, no doubt about it. The Indiana Pacers, I think that they could go there
Aaron
too.
Holiday's better than him.
Aaron Holiday's in Washington.
Oh, okay. Had to make sure.
And he's not better than IT. Aaron Holiday's not better than IT. What is this disrespect?
We have not seen IT play NBA basketball in
First
so
of all,
long,
you said IT's not skillful. That's the dumbest thing you ever said on this podcast.
Part of me. I should have never said that. That was part of me.
Isaiah Thomas, say what you want about his 29 point per game season, his usage.
We're talking about now.
I have to bring it up because that's who he was as a player.
Yeah, now who he is now.
I'll say this is what I gotta say. Look, Isaiah Thomas. Say what you want about his season and his usage. 99% of players in the NBA can't average 29.
It was a phenomenal season.
Let alone at 5. I think he's the only player in history to average that.
No, Tiny Archibald did that.
Tiny Archibald, okay.
Yeah. I think. Yeah.
I mean, Isaiah Thomas was a different breed. People are forgetting how great this guy was. Season. And he had seasons in Sacramento where he was averaging 20.
And they sucked.
And then in Phoenix, he averaged 16.
They weren't good.
They missed the playoffs by 1 game. Don't say they weren't
That wasn't him. That was Dragic and Bledsoe.
It was that year, too.
That wasn't him.
Yes, it was.
Go look it up. Because now you chat. That was not him.
All right. That was 2016, 2017. That's got to be at the end of this season.
Okay, you're right.
I know.
He got traded. He got traded to Boston, and then Boston made an ECF with Isaiah Thomas.
And they won the game. One game he didn't play in.
Bro, Isaiah Thomas was so good that they literally had to move away from a rebuild because he was leading them to victory.
So let me ask you a question.
He was supposed to be the bench player.
So is he that same player?
He can be that same player.
No, 28 points per game score.
No, he's not. He's gonna be.
So then stop bringing it up.
He's
what
gonna
can he be right now?
He can be a 16 point per game scorer off the bench. He can be a 6th man of the year.
Oh,
yes.
Where?
I mean, look, Denver needs some help. Denver.
You know, Monte Morris already there.
I think Isaiah Thomas is better, but look, also I think Dallas, they could use another playmaker to make some plays. I
wonder Brunson, bro. Like
let's see how
Isaiah
long,
Thomas.
Let's see how long he's gonna not make the league and then complain that they're blackballed. No, nobody needs you.
I think the Pelicans, maybe they could need him.
They're not gonna make the
But
playoffs.
again, that's like a nobody team. Like the Pelicans
Or the
aren't doing
Timberwolves.
anything.
They need a backup point guard.
Rubio's the backup.
He's in Cleveland.
Oh damn.
You got to keep up.
Yeah.
Wait.
You got to keep up.
Oh, that's right.
The
Yeah,
T-Wolves
you gotta trade
with D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony
I
Towns,
hope they don't start him.
Malik Beasley, Isaiah Thomas off the bench. He could be a 6 man of the year. Well, Isaiah Thomas is going to get his opportunity. I want you to keep that same energy. Keep
gonna
that.
do nothing
Keep that
with it.
same energy.
What did he do in Washington?
He averaged 4. He averaged. I got the numbers right here. He averaged 12 and 4.
When last time was that?
It was actually like last season, I believe.
He was off the bench
Not last season, but like
the year before the
the
bubble.
year before.
He's off the bench.
He started some games.
What happened? Was he
41%.
still hurt?
41% from the field and 40% from three.
Was he still hurt at that time?
He on all the Smoke podcast, he said he was still hurt then.
So he was just playing.
But
through
he
it.
finally got it. He has a new hip. He has a metal hip now. So they replaced his hip.
So he was playing through his hip. He was playing through that injury
because he
also.
never got surgery on it. But he finally replaced his hip, and now he's good to go.
I'm not worried.
You should be. 'Cause he's going to prove you wrong, man. Isaiah Thomas deserves a shot at the NBA. I think he deserves it. He had one of the most spectacular seasons that I've ever seen in my life.
Bro. Like, bro, you see what you're doing to this, man? You keep bringing up, like, the past. He averaged 29 points once. He finished
It was a
fourth
great
in
season.
MVP points. It
Great
was a
season.
great season.
Was this
Fluke.
10 years ago?
It was a fluke.
Was this? It's not a fluke.
It was
Oh,
a fluke. 'Cause
it's
He would
not a
never.
fluke.
He would never
He
be able to do it
would.
again.
It's not a fluke.
It was a fluke.
It's not a
He
fluke.
wouldn't have did it again.
It's not a fluke.
It was a fluke.
He was
not-
27 at the time.
How old is he
I
now?
told.
32.
Did I not say he was 27? You talking about he was 29?
At the end of the season, he probably was 28. His birthday.
And
was
I
That
last
said
means
year.
at the end of
27,
this season,
28.
he's going to be 33.
Look, I think 32 years old, he can still give you something.
Nah, dude.
Yes.
Listen,
Chris Paul's playing at 36.
It's
Chris Paul ain't
Chris.
averaging no 20 points a
Bro,
game.
point God.
I told you
Chris
that I told you that Isaiah Thomas, he's not 29 points per game, but he's 16 a game off the bench still.
No, that's ridiculous.
He could do what Jordan Clarkson does.
No, he can't.
Yes,
Jordan
he
Clarkson's
can.
a flamethrower.
Yeah.
And so is Isaiah Thomas. Have you seen him play? Obviously,
No,
I'm not
He
watching
he
him
had,
play in a.
he had 53 in a
I'm not
playoff
watching
game.
him play in the gym with randoms.
Isaiah Thomas had 53 in a
When he
playoff
was
game. That's a
27,
lie.
bro.
You told me through group chat, yo, did you see that Isaiah Thomas
I
game?
asked you.
Because you saw it.
No, I asked you. Did you see? Because they said he had 81. I asked you a question.
No, you asked me because you saw it yourself.
No, I didn't see it.
You saw the
asked-
highlights.
No, I
You
didn't
saw
see
the
the highlights. I
highlights.
just said, yo, did you see
the
Isaiah's
highlights.
81-point game?
Isaiah Thomas, he had 53 in a playoff game.
Oh, my God.
This guy is next level good.
When last time he had 30?
I'll check that right now. Because, you thought Kemba Walker didn't have 30. This 30 number
I just
with
asked
you.
the question.
Okay, I'll check. We'll
Kemp
look.
was the starter, though. IT,
He was in the league still.
Yeah, IT ain't start a game in I don't even know how long.
He started in Washington.
Oh, he averaged 13 points. That's cute.
Now, he had some games where he did start.
It's interesting.
How far are you scrolling?
Yeah,
dude?
he's scrolling
He
for a minute.
had 30.
That's not what I
That's
asked
not
you.
Against
30.
Detroit, they won that game plus 13. He was
That's
really
Detroit.
good.
Uh-huh.
What year was that?
2019, 2020.
Okay,
It
keep
just
go-
happened.
Yeah, keep going. I want to find the 30.
I mean, Isaiah Thomas was still producing.
Find the 30. You keep scrolling. I see you scrolling.
No, because I'm going on different pages. That's why. Okay, not here either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's been a minute.
You might have to go back to Boston, bro. Honestly,
You should have gave me 20 because he had 20.
Yeah, I know he's had 20, but it's been a minute since he had 30.
20 ain't much though.
He had 29. Does that count as 30?
Nope,
No.
it's not 30.
Nah, that's okay. But you were the same one that said that KD had 50 when he never had 50
what are you talking
in the
about?
playoffs. You said KD dropped 50 versus the Bucks, but he had
So when
49.
was it 29?
He was 29. It was March 1st, 2018.
He
That was 3
28,
years
bro.
ago.
Yeah.
But Isaiah Thomas just had 81.
Oh my god!
Forget about 30. He just had 81.
In a gym full of randoms.
I mean, look, they could ball.
That's
Not
true.
every NBA player could drop 81 in that. Some haven't. He has the record. He owes the record. So obviously, a lot of players haven't done
That's
it.
a fair point. That's a fair point.
Isaiah Thomas deserves another shot, no doubt about it. I'm surprised you said he doesn't.
You shouldn't be surprised.
I am surprised. I mean, actually, no, I'm not surprised because you've always been an Isaiah Thomas hater. The year where he dropped 29, you hated on him. You've always hated on Isaiah Thomas. So I'm not surprised. You hated on him now. You hated on him then. It's cool. Yo, look, the marathon continues. LeBron hashtagged him. He's supporting. He's the GOAT.
LeBron
He's
should get him on
supporting.
his team.
They're thinking about it. Reports came out. They're thinking about it right now.
It'd be such a point guard heavy team though.
They need scoring for sure.
And
Who they-
IT's the answer.
He should be.
Boy, he is a cone Oh man.
Nah, if he locks in
what? There's only so much locking in he can do.
If Muggsy Bogues was a good defender at 5'3", Isaiah Thomas can do his
That's
thing.
a different league.
A different league that's more physical, in your opinion.
That's just
Muggsy Bogues can actually push you around.
And Isaiah Thomas can't?
No, he can't. It's a foul every time.
Well, new rules in the NBA this season.
That's
on the shooting though.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Isaiah Thomas motivated. Oh, I'm telling you, he's been grinding. He's coming back.
So you're gonna tell me in Washington he wasn't motivated, in LA he wasn't.
He played
motivated.
good in Washington though.
I know, but like,
Yeah, good enough to never get a contract.
He was still hurt.
Mm.
But he still played good. I mean, it was unfortunate, but he's ready to do his thing this year.
Listen,
We'll see.
You're overblowing 81 points against a gym full of guys who either never made the league or are like 2 years in the league and then never.
Bunch of overseas players.
That
Nice.
too.
Those players are still good.
Yeah, but
81 is 81.
NBA players, they know what to do when they get over there. They ain't,
Especially like, I'm not gonna say like, you don't forget how to drop like 29 points a game. You feel me? Like he still got the bag. So when you gotta do it against like a bunch of randoms, that's a light work. But you gotta bring that back to the league. That's
You don't think he can average 16 a game in the league?
no.
You don't think so?
A stretch, like a golden point for him would be 10 points max off the bat.
What?
Wow.
He was scoring 12 in
12,
Washington.
Struggling.
Nah, he wasn't struggling.
12.
Well, it also depends on this. Like, all right, I'm.
Who was in Washington at that time? John Wall and them?
Nah, he was hurt that year.
Bradley
It was Beal, right?
still
Beal.
there. And
He was averaging 12 in Washington. How can he average 10 when he's healthy now? He's even more healthy now.
He's older now.
By a year,
That was like 2019.
2019-2020 season.
Well, he'll be 33 at the end of the year.
Well, it is 2021. I'm saying he's 1.5 years, 2 years. He's not that much older. Y'all acting like he's 40. If he was 40, I would agree.
Monte Ellis trying to get back in the league.
He's still got I think Isaiah Thomas still got 2-3 more years left to, play at a good level.
Oh,
At a good level. I never said he's not a 29 point per game scorer anymore, but he could definitely give you 16 a game, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Off the bench being a flamethrower like a Jordan Clarkson.
Stop comparing him to him.
He could definitely do that. Isaiah Thomas has had a better career than Clarkson.
Yeah, but don't compare him
Don't
right
tell
now.
me. Don't tell me not to compare
Don't compare
them.
him right now.
Isaiah Thomas can do what Clarkson does.
Clarkson's in the league. He's not. Don't compare them.
Yeah, Thomas should be in the league.
Clarkson's 6 man a year this year. He's nothing. Yeah. He's a baller for a league.
It should have been co-6 man of the year.
It wasn't. IT wasn't a co, so it don't matter. IT wasn't a co.
Wasn't a co what?
It
was an all-star. Wait, was Clarkson ever an all-star?
Carson's still in the league.
Isaiah Thomas was an all-star.
That's good. Where he at right now?
He's dropping 81.
Where?
He's dropping 81
Jordan Clarkson was just in the
in the
playoffs.
crossover league.
Exactly.
Against in the league that Jamal Crawford made.
And
Jamal Crawford's better than Clarkson too.
Yeah, but Clarkson's in a league that matters. That matters. He was just in the playoffs. That matters. He's on the number one.
Well.
He was on the number one seeded West team.
And he didn't play too well.
I know. IT ain't play at all.
I mean, keep hating on Isaiah Thomas. He's gonna do his thing, and it's gonna do it for this episode of the Pick a Top Podcast, episode 104. If you listen this far, you might as well drop us a review and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts. And shout out to the Bahamas once again. You can subscribe to our Patreon, and you can get access to our Discord chat and link, and talk to Riv, Drew, and I, and we'll debate you guys if you really want that to happen. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.